Chapter 357. The battle disc swayed unsteadily, and Ning Cheng thought that the battle disc would fall into the thistles forest several times. Fortunately, although the battle disc swayed, it did not fall. The battle disc did not fall, but its speed obviously slowed down. After a while, the battle disc barely stabilized. Ning Cheng slightly relaxed. He knew that the intelligent sifting orchid should have worked. At this moment, he began to look at the spiritual grasses that he had collected. With 2 casual grabs, he managed to obtain 2 heavenly cusp flowers, a petalous flower, and 2 7-colored grasses. The 7-colored grasses were only rank 7 spiritual grasses. For Ning Cheng, its value was just average. As for the role of the petalous flower, Ning Cheng only knew that it could detoxify the poisonous fog. As for whether it had any other use, he was not very clear about it. As such, he could only store it in a jade box. Ning Cheng carefully preserved it. In order to obtain these few spiritual grasses, he was almost killed by the monstrous beasts in the poison mist lake. Fortunately, the rank 5 battle disc played a big role. This time, the rank 5 battle disc not only helped Ning Cheng obtain the spiritual grasses, but it also saved Ning Cheng's life. The status of the rank 5 battle disc in Ning Cheng's heart rose to a new height. What made Ning Cheng distressed was that the unknown monstrous beast had created a huge dent in the rank 5 battle disc. He did not know if this dent could be repaired by the intelligent sifting orchid. A few days later, Ning Cheng once again returned to his residence. He did not continue with body forging. There were only a few months left until the coiling reef mountain exchange that Chao Hei had mentioned. He intended to cultivate for a few months before going to take a look. If not for worrying about Shi Qianghua coming back, Ning Cheng would have already left the sifting orchid star. Initially, he was unable to crush the transmission jade talisman at the bottom of the blood river, but now it should be enough, right? He was afraid that after Shi Qianghua came back, she would not be able to enter the place where she was staying. If that happened, then the sifting orchid star would explode, which would be the end of it. A few months passed by quickly, and Ning Cheng's cultivation advanced from the peak of the first level of the soul sculpting realm to the second level of the soul sculpting realm. At this time, he received a message from Chao Hei through his communications pearl. Chao Hei told Ning Cheng that the cultivator-cultivator exchange at the coiling reef mountain would begin in a few days. Ning Cheng then took the battle disc and directly flew towards the coiling reef towards the coiling reef mountain. The main reason for this was because the space-time of the sifting orchid star was extremely unstable. Master, the battle disc is unable to change its direction and escape the range of the hurricane. The hurricane will sweep away the battle disc after 10 breaths. Sifting orchid's voice sounded out once again. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had just swept past a few hundred meters high mountain peak, so when he heard the words of the intelligent sifting orchid, he immediately became even more anxious in his heart. This hurricane was boundless, and there was no place to escape. There was also no place to avoid the direction of the hurricane. Ning Cheng knew that he could not rely on the rank 5 battle disc, he could only rely on himself. 10 breaths only lasted for a few seconds. As such, Ning Cheng did not have the time to think about it. He directly threw the battle disc into the miniature world ring, while simultaneously entering the mysterious yellow bead. This was the first time that Ning Cheng had used the mysterious yellow bead to escape. He had just entered the mysterious yellow bead. A terrifying hurricane swept through. The mysterious yellow bead's mysterious yellow aura, under this terrifying hurricane, simply could not spread out. Inside the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng felt slightly relieved. He believed that even if the sifting orchid star exploded, it would not be able to do anything to his mysterious yellow bead. The mysterious yellow bead was a good fortune treasure. If it could be killed so easily, then what good fortune would there be? Ning Cheng carefully swept out with his spiritual consciousness from the mysterious yellow bead, but before his spiritual consciousness could clearly see the situation outside, the terrifying hurricane swept away his spiritual consciousness. Ning Cheng felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness, causing him to quickly retract his spiritual consciousness. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng once again stretched out his spiritual consciousness. When he found that the mysterious yellow bead had already been swept into the ground, he knew that the hurricane had already passed. Ning Cheng quickly put away the mysterious yellow bead and escaped through the earth to the surface. Once again standing on the ground, Ning Cheng looked at the places he could see in shock. As far as his eyes could see, it looked like it had been gnawed by a dog, full of potholes and ravines. Where could he even find a flat place? He was sure that if this hurricane had swept into the place where he lived before, then the place where he lived would have disappeared without a trace. Living in the shifting orchid star, one really had to be ready to sacrifice oneself at any time. Ning Cheng once again took out the battle disc and hurried on his way, although the battle disc could not escape from the hurricane, but the battle disc had at least reminded him in advance. If not for the battle disc's reminder, then by the time Ning Cheng was aware of the hurricane, perhaps he would have already been swept away by the hurricane. 2 days later, Ning Cheng arrived at the top of the coiling reef mountain, while he had already put away the battle disc. There were at least tens of thousands of people on the coiling reef summit, which made Ning Cheng feel very shocked. He had thought that there were only a few people cultivating in the shifting orchid star. Even if there was a cultivators exchange meet at the coiling reef mountains, it would only be good if a few hundred or even 1,000 people came. He didn't expect that there would be more than 10,000 people. Moreover, there was an endless stream of cultivators rushing over. Ning Cheng looked around. Although his cultivation was considered low, there were still a few soul essence cultivators among them. Compared to the soul sculpting and sea opening realm cultivators, the soul essence cultivators were the least. Even crucible transformation cultivators had more of them than soul essence cultivators. Some temporary stalls were scattered all over the place. There was no planning and no one was managing them. Some wealthy cultivators had already built their own merchant houses. The cultivators here were in groups, exchanging goods with each other. When Ning Cheng saw this, he also looked for an open space and set up his own stall. He didn't have any Dharma treasures, so he could only set up a stall on the ground. Compared to the other stalls, the things in his stall were protected by a defensive array formation. The reason why Ning Cheng set up a stall here was because he had only one purpose: to exchange the spiritual enhancement true nectar for rank 7 and rank 8 spiritual grasses. Other than the spiritual enhancement true nectar, he did not have many other things, but he was also reluctant to exchange them. Ning Cheng set up his stall and put down a few bottles of spiritual enhancement true nectar. Not waiting for him to erect a billboard, 2 cultivators arrived in front of his stall. "Are you Ning Cheng?" The one who spoke was a man without eyebrows. This man did not have eyebrows, but his forehead was also very prominent. It was the kind of face that people would never forget when they saw him. Seeing Gongye Ingxiu behind this man, how could Ning Cheng not know what was going on? "That's right, I am Ning Cheng." This eyebrowless man was a soul sculpting 7th level cultivator, while Gongye Ingxiu was also a soul sculpting 7th level cultivator. With this kind of cultivation, Ning Cheng was not afraid of him. Last time, because of Shi Qionghua's matter, Ning Cheng did not care about Gongye Ingxiu, but this time, if Gongye Ingxiu dared to play any tricks, then he would definitely not show any mercy. "I heard that you managed to get your hands on a lot of true polar bamboo sprouts. Take them out, I will give you a high price." This eyebrowless man had not finished his words when he looked straight at the few bottles of spiritual enhancement true nectar in front of Ning Cheng's stall, as he spoke in a pleasantly surprised voice. "Is this spiritual enhancement true nectar?" Although the spiritual enhancement true nectar only had a single effect, but it was definitely one of the rarest spiritual objects and was incomparably precious. This kind of thing was useful to everyone, but at the same time, every cultivator did not need to use it too much. "Congratulations, you got it right. This is my spiritual enhancement true nectar." Ning Cheng spoke in a light voice, and with a wave of his hand, a golden signboard appeared in front of him using an array formation. "This stall sells a lot of spiritual enhancement true nectar. If you want to purchase spiritual enhancement true nectar, please use rank 7 and above spiritual grasses to exchange. Rank 7 and below spiritual grasses are not accepted." Ning Cheng was currently barely able to refine rank 7 pills, but now that he wanted to advance to a tier 8 pill master, ordinary spiritual grasses would not be of much use to him. This eyebrowless cultivator simply did not care about Ning Cheng's signboard, as he raised his hand to grab Ning Cheng's spiritual enhancement true nectar. Bang! A sound emerged, as the eyebrowless cultivator's hand was directly repelled by Ning Cheng's restriction. Only then did he discover that Ning Cheng's spiritual enhancement true nectar was protected by an array formation. Hurry up, take out your spiritual enhancement true nectar and let me have a look. This eyebrowless cultivator anxiously spoke up, as he almost brought out his magical weapon to bombard Ning Cheng's restriction. Not only this eyebrowless cultivator, even Gongye Ingxiu, who was a few meters behind the eyebrowless cultivator, also eagerly took a few steps forward, apparently because of the spiritual enhancement true nectar. Ning Cheng simply did not pay any attention to this eyebrowless cultivator and Gongye Ingxiu, as he directly shouted towards the crowded place, "I have spiritual enhancement true nectar here. I am selling spiritual enhancement true nectar. The quantity is limited. If you want to buy it, then hurry up, otherwise you won't be able to." Chapter 358. For Ning Cheng, regardless of whether he would be able to exchange for a large number of rank 7 and above spiritual grasses in this exchange meet, he had already decided to leave the sifting orchid star. Regarding the matter of taking out a large amount of spiritual enhancement true nectar, which would cause people to turn red with envy, he had already thrown it aside. "I asked you a question, didn't you hear me?" The eyebrowless male cultivator's aura immediately skyrocketed and directly approached Ning Cheng. He could see more and more cultivators coming over, while he was just at the 7th level of soul sculpting realm. As such, he simply could not gain the upper hand in terms of cultivation. Ning Cheng waited until many of the cultivators had squeezed in, before he looked at the eyebrowless male cultivator and spoke, "I heard it. I have a lot of spiritual enhancement true nectar. As long as you have the spiritual grasses, you can come and sell them. Don't tell me you can afford it if I only sell it to you. Is there really the spiritual enhancement true nectar? Ah, spiritual enhancement true nectar, what's the price?" In just a short time, Ning Cheng's booth was already overcrowded with people. All the people were staring at the spiritual enhancement true nectar in front of Ning Cheng's booth, as all kinds of spiritual consciousnesses probed into it. Unfortunately, these divine senses were all blocked by the restriction without exception. At this time, everyone realized that Ning Cheng was also an array formation master. The crowding in the surroundings also eased up a little. Unless it was absolutely necessary, very few people would take the initiative to offend an array master. "Everyone, the spiritual enhancement true nectar that I have here can only be exchanged with spiritual grasses. I do not accept spirit stones. One precious level 7 spiritual grass could be exchanged for 1 drop, while 2 to 5 ordinary level 7 spiritual grass could be exchanged for 1 drop. Rank 8 spiritual grasses, according to the value of the spiritual grasses, 1 stalk can be exchanged for 10 to 20 drops." Ning Cheng cupped his fists and spoke out loudly. "No way. So expensive? The price of a level 7 spiritual grass is too low." Ning Cheng also knew that the price he spoke of was not reasonable, as he had estimated the value of a rank 7 spiritual grass to be too low. However, Ning Cheng did not have any intention to modify it. This was a one-time deal. Moreover, the most important thing to him was the Tier 8 spiritual herbs. He was already a Tier 7 earth pill refiner, so even if he managed to obtain more Tier 7 spiritual herbs, it would only increase his standard of refining Tier 7 earth pills slightly. As for the rank 8 spiritual grasses, they were far better than just 20 drops of spiritual enhancement true nectar. Ning Cheng also did not need good rank 8 spiritual grasses. As long as he could refine rank 8 pills, it would be enough. As for the preciousness of the spiritual grasses, it did not matter. Ning Cheng did not explain the price of his spiritual enhancement true nectar, but instead spoke out in a loud voice. "The things here are limited. If you want to buy it, then you can come first." Ning Cheng's words were much more powerful than any other explanation, as his voice had just fallen, when someone immediately grabbed a handful of spiritual grasses and squeezed in. "I have purple bamboo sprout, silver ground ginseng, thoughtless ice flower. I have black elm orchid, mystic moongrass. I have." At this time, no one even bothered to ask about the price, as they all wanted to be the first to exchange for the spiritual enhancement true nectar. Ning Cheng's hand speed was incomparably fast. In just a short period of time, the spiritual enhancement true nectar on the table was replaced by a handful of spiritual grasses. When the rest of the cultivators saw that there was still some spiritual enhancement true nectar in Ning Cheng's ring, they were no longer squeezing like before. Some of the fierce-looking cultivators had murderous glints in their eyes. Ning Cheng alone possessed so much spiritual enhancement true nectar, and even exchanged it for so many spiritual grasses. This was simply an immeasurable amount of wealth. As such, they had already decided that once Ning Cheng left this place, they would immediately follow him. Only Gongye Yingxiu's face was incomparably gloomy. He knew that the things on Ning Cheng's body would no longer belong to him. Since Ning Cheng was openly selling the spiritual enhancement true nectar, it would definitely attract the attention of the top cultivators. It would really be a strange thing. In his opinion, Ning Cheng was an idiot. As such, he could only secretly lament his bad luck. An hour later, Ning Cheng had already exchanged for thousands of rank 7 spiritual grasses and more than 300 rank 8 spiritual grasses. Similar to what Ning Cheng had expected, these spiritual grasses were all ordinary spiritual grasses, and there were very few special spiritual grasses that came out. Ning Cheng was very helpless. He knew that if he opened a stall in this place to help others in alchemy, then the spiritual grasses that he could exchange for would be much more, and would also be of a much higher grade. Moreover, it would also be of great benefit to him in improving his alchemy level. Unfortunately, he knew that it would be too dangerous to do so. Refining rank 7 pills, or even rank 8 pills, would require a very long time to refine a single set. As such, he did not have that much time to waste in this place. Well, my spiritual enhancement true nectar has now been completely exchanged. As such, I can only say sorry to the friends behind me. Ning Cheng emptied the last jade bottle in front of his stall, as he deliberately raised the jade bottle and spoke in a loud voice. To advance to a tier 8 pill master, Ning Cheng already had enough spiritual grasses. As such, he did not need to continue exchanging. Some of the cultivators who were not able to exchange for anything immediately started to make a lot of noise. There were even a few cultivators who wanted to smash Ning Cheng's stall. The eyebrowless cultivator who came together with Gongye Yingxiu did not take out any spiritual grasses to exchange, as he stared at Ning Cheng, while in his heart he was thinking about how he could get rid of this rich guy. When he saw that Ning Cheng's stall was about to be smashed, the many cultivators who were causing trouble were getting more and more intense, and even wanted to gang up on Ning Cheng to kill him. He knew that it would be impossible for him to kill Ning Cheng alone. At this moment, he could only follow along with the crowd and try to grab some benefits. Ning Cheng did not panic even a little bit. As he held the talisman from the bottom of the blood river in his hand, he was ready to immediately activate the twin wings of the heavenly essence to escape, and then leave the sifting orchid star. Ning Cheng did not believe that he would not be able to crush this talisman. Even if he could not crush it, he still had the twin wings of the heavenly essence. If an ordinary cultivator wanted to catch him in the sifting orchid star, it would simply be wishful thinking. This place was not the Severing Emotions Dao Sex Mountain Ceiling Grand Array, and he was also not that puny soul essence 3rd level cultivator from before. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Just when these cultivators were about to swarm him, a loud and clear voice sounded out. This voice had a very strong penetrating power, causing the more than 10,000 cultivators on the coiling reef mountain to be able to hear it very clearly, as if the person who spoke was right next to their ears. It's Senior Zhong. Senior Zhong definitely has something important to say. This voice belonged to a black-haired middle-aged male cultivator who looked very refined. Ning Cheng did not know who this cultivator was, but he could feel that this cultivator's cultivation was far more powerful than Qi Li's. However, from the discussions of the surrounding cultivators, he came to know that this person was surnamed Zhong, and also from the surrounding discussions, he came to know that this cultivator surnamed Zhong had an extremely high prestige. In fact, when this cultivator surnamed Zhong called out, "Ladies and gentlemen," twice, the surroundings instantly quietened down. From this, Ning Cheng was able to understand the influence of this cultivator. Seeing that the surroundings had quietened down, this middle-aged male cultivator surnamed Zhong stood in the void and spoke in a clear voice, "Ladies and gentlemen, today I am not going to talk about a happy matter. For many years, the sifting orchid star has been our home. Although there are all kinds of dangers here, but it has also given us all kinds of opportunities. Senior Zhong, if you have anything to say, then we will listen to you. A voice echoed from below. The man surnamed Zhong raised his voice and spoke. 7 months ago, the sifting orchid star experienced a large-scale eruption of volcanic magma. Volcanic magma eruptions on the sifting orchid star are very normal, but the one 7 months ago was definitely not normal. Whether it was the scale or the area of influence, it was far more powerful than any previous eruption of volcanic magma. My sifting orchid star originally did not have many cultivators, but this time the volcanic magma caused the deaths of hundreds of people. 5 months ago, a spatial storm once again swept through almost half of the sifting orchid star. Even I myself was almost buried in this spatial storm. 3 months ago, a large-scale monstrous beasts were alarmed, causing them to wander around the sifting orchid star without any purpose. Some of the flying monstrous beasts even rushed out of the sifting orchid star. I believe that many of my friends have already seen it. But in the last 2 months, thunderstorms, hurricanes, volcanoes, and spatial storms have become more and more intense. All these scenes indicate that we cannot continue to stay on the sifting orchid star. These eruptions are all precursors. The sifting orchid star may be brewing an even more powerful storm. Even if the planet explodes, it is not impossible. The sifting orchid star is going to explode. No wonder I recently encountered 2 moving spatial storms. What should we do? If the sifting orchid star explodes, wouldn't it be courting death for us to go to the void? A variety of panicked emotions spread out. Some of the cultivators with lower cultivations were even more panic-stricken. Their cultivations were low. As such, they could still find a place to hide in the sifting orchid star. Once the sifting orchid star exploded, then entering the void, it would truly be a dead end for them. The middle-aged male cultivator surnamed Zhong used his hand to suppress the discussions of the crowd, as he spoke in a somewhat heavy tone. Therefore, if you have the ability, please leave the sifting orchid star as soon as possible. I can only help you with this much. As if to verify the words of the middle-aged cultivator surnamed Zhong, just as his voice fell, a burst of roars erupted from the coiling reef mountain. Even if one stood at the top of the coiling reef mountain, they would still be able to feel the tremors. Even without the use of spiritual consciousness, the cultivators standing at the top of the mountain could clearly see that in the distance, there were endless columns of fiery red magma. These magma columns, each of them was over 1,000 feet in length, and looked very frightening. Torrents of magma instantly swept out. It was only a matter of time before these torrents of magma would reach the coiling reef mountain. Some of the cultivators who wanted to find trouble with Ning Cheng, or even planned to secretly follow Ning Cheng at this moment, did not have the mood to do so, as they brought out their magical weapons and instantly fled far away. As for the cultivators who had set up the stalls, each one of them was faster than the other. In just a short time, there were only a few hundred people left. Ning Cheng took out his communications pearl and sent a message to Chao He. He did not see Chao He here a moment ago. Chao He was a good person, so before he left, he planned to send a bottle of spiritual enhancement true nectar to Chao He, and at the same time tell Chao He that he could not stay here any longer. However, after Ning Cheng sent the message, he waited for a long time, but did not receive a reply from Chao He. Ning Cheng sighed. In this place, no one could guarantee that they would still be alive in the next moment. Ning Cheng had only sent a message when he found that he was the only person left on the coiling reef mountain. Moreover, the fiery red magma was only a few thousand meters away from the foot of the coiling reef mountain. Ning Cheng no longer hesitated. He took out a few 100,000 spirit stones and quickly arranged a spiritual gathering array, while simultaneously taking out the transfer jade talisman to head to the bottom of the blood river. Arranging the spiritual gathering array was just a precaution. The sifting orchid star might not explode, or it might take a long time before it explodes. In any case, Ning Cheng did not intend to continue staying here. This time, Ning Cheng gathered his true essence, causing the transfer jade talisman to issue a crisp sound, followed by a mass of golden light wrapping around Ning Cheng. When the torrent of magma reached the top of the coiling reef mountain, Ning Cheng had already disappeared without a trace. Only the golden light that had not yet dissipated was slowly overflowing in all directions. Chapter 359. Bang! A sound emerged as Ning Cheng felt himself falling onto a hard boulder, followed by the sound of bones breaking. His spiritual consciousness instantly swept out. The next moment he knew that the skeleton at the bottom of the blood river had not lied to him. He once again returned to the bottom of the blood river. Not only that, the skeleton was just a few dozen feet away from him. The blood river was about 3 feet wide as usual, but the difference from the last time was that this time he was in the middle of the blood river, while the last time he was outside the blood river. The huge golden talisman was still suspended in the air. As the golden light fell on Ning Cheng's body, a very deep and comfortable feeling welled up in his heart. His body obviously did not have any hidden injuries, but when he was swept by this golden light, Ning Cheng felt that all the hidden injuries on his body automatically dissipated. Ning Cheng stood up and stretched his body, feeling pleasantly surprised in his heart. His body really had become a lot stronger. This heaven-opening talisman was just too amazing. Unexpectedly it had this kind of effect. Just when Ning Cheng was about to call out to the skeleton under the giant talisman suddenly sat up again. "Hey, you came so quickly? I thought that you would at least come 100 years later. I really did not expect that with your cultivation, you would be able to crush this jade talisman." The skeleton on the other hand gave out a happy cry. Ning Cheng quickly took out a bottle of geocentric 9-ene essence, and then took out a jade box before handing it to the skeleton and spoke. "Senior, this junior was fortunate enough to not disappoint you, and managed to obtain the geocentric 9-ene essence and the heavenly cusp flower." Good, you are very good." The skeleton said, "Good," 3 times in a row, as it raised its hand and took away the things in Ning Cheng's hands. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up. "This junior obtained 2 mature heavenly cusp flowers, as well as some geocentric 9-ene essence. If senior does not have enough, then this junior can take them out together. Although your cultivation progress is not fast, but you are very honest, I like this kind of character. A bottle more or a bottle less, it does not make much difference to me." The skeleton gave Ning Cheng an appreciative look. As for what was in Ning Cheng's ring, he could clearly see it at a glance. For Ning Cheng to come here so quickly, it was already a surprise to him, but he did not expect him to be so honest. Ning Cheng spoke up in a panic. "Senior is too kind. This junior originally wanted to ask senior, how could I not try my best?" It was not that Ning Cheng wanted to be honest, but Ning Cheng was sure that he would not be able to hide anything from this skeleton. He might as well just say it out loud so that he wouldn't end up as a villain. Even Rui Baishan was able to see his concealment ring. As such, this skeleton was many times more terrifying than Rui Baishan. Perhaps this skeleton was an existence similar to Tai Shu Shizhu. In front of this kind of existence, as long as the opposite party had the intention, he would not be able to hide any secrets from them. However, Ning Cheng still believed that the other party did not know that he had the everlasting Sky Thunder City and the Celestial River. Moreover, the everlasting Sky Thunder City and the Celestial River did not leak any aura. "Wait here for a while. You can also cultivate under my heaven-opening talisman. This is a rare opportunity for you." After the skeleton said those words to Ning Cheng, it directly opened the jade bottle containing the geocentric 9-ene essence, and poured the bone-chilling geocentric 9-ene essence over its head, allowing it to flow throughout its body. At the same time, he took out the heavenly cusp flower and placed it in his palm. Ning Cheng did not look at how the skeleton restored its body, as he sat in the same place and began to cultivate. He didn't need the skeleton to tell him that this giant talisman was a good thing. In just a few days, Ning Cheng, who was cultivating under the golden light of the giant talisman, suddenly opened his eyes. He had already broken through to the soul sculpting 2nd level. Ning Cheng was secretly shocked. This was the fastest cultivation speed that he had ever experienced. In such a short period of time, he had already reached the soul sculpting 3rd level. Cultivating under this, it was as if there were no bottlenecks at all. Moreover, the absorption of spiritual qi was something that came naturally. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to sigh at the giant talisman, he was completely stunned by the recovery of the skeleton in front of him. At this time, the skeleton could no longer be said to be a skeleton, rather it should be said to be a relatively thin man. He even grew long hair, while his skin was completely white, giving off a faint white glow. But what shocked Ningqing even more was the surrounding blood river. The seemingly endless blood river suddenly condensed into a red mist, as this mist continuously poured into the body of the man. Ningqing could only watch as the man's body became more and more solid, while his skin also started to gradually return to its normal appearance. Then he saw that the color of the water in the blood river was also getting lighter. Ningqing did not think that this blood river would really be made of blood. Since this skeleton chose this place, then perhaps it had already planned to use this blood river. Ningqing did not dare to continue to observe the recovery of this skeleton, as he also seized the time to start cultivating. How could the opportunity to cultivate under this giant talisman be rare? If someone was here to see it, they would definitely find that the aura coming from Ningqing's body was getting more and more powerful, while the aura of the naked man was getting more and more restrained, while his corporeal body was also getting closer and closer to that of a normal person. Ningqing was awakened by a long roar. He had unknowingly advanced to the 4th level of the soul sculpting realm. Ningqing suppressed the surprise in his heart. He found that the skeleton had completely returned to normal at this moment. Long hair fluttering in the wind, a handsome face, and did not look much older than him, a very handsome man. This man's long roar contained a joyful and excited mood, showing that he was extremely happy that he was able to recover. Ningqing then discovered that the set of clothes that the skeleton was wearing was his. There were many sets of clothes in the ring, but this man had casually taken one of them, and he simply did not know that it was there. Looking at the surrounding blood river, he found that it had turned into a clear river, where was the slightest bit of blood color. "My name is Tsang Wei. This time I really have to thank you. What is your name?" The man did not put away the heaven-opening talisman suspended in the air. After the long roar, he walked to the opposite side of Ningqing and sat down. Ningqing wanted to stand up and give a salute, but Tsang Wei waved his hand and spoke, "You have saved my life, and we are friends of the same generation. I just took a set of clothes from you, and did not greet you, so you don't need to be so formal. Not to mention that you also have the mysterious yellow bead, as such your future achievements would not be any less than mine." Ningqing came from Earth, as such he still felt that everyone was equal in his bones. Although he had cultivated in the Yixing mainland for many years, he knew that cultivators placed a lot of importance on seniority. However, since Tsang Wei had said so, he did not feel that it was inappropriate. "Many thanks, elder brother Tsang Wei. I am called Ningqing." Ningqing also no longer acted pretentiously. Tsang Wei nodded in appreciation. He liked this kind of person who had their own opinions, and was not a yes man. Although the geocentric 9-ene essence and the heavenly cusp flower are not particularly precious things, but they are not simple in the Yixing mainland. Your cultivation is so poor, yet you were able to obtain these two things. Presumably it was not easy. Unfortunately, my current cultivation cannot be restored, and is simply too low. Besides seeing the heaven-opening talisman, I cannot take out anything else, nor can I give you any more benefits." Tsang Wei spoke with a slight regret. Ningqing immediately replied, "Many thanks, elder brother Tsang Wei. For me, the most important thing is to go back and see my home. I do not have any extravagant expectations." He was secretly shocked in his heart. He could not even see what Tsang Wei's cultivation was. He could only feel a powerful and vast aura. With this kind of cultivation, how could he say that his cultivation was too low? Wouldn't that make him an ant among ants? After Tsang Wei listened to Ningqing's words, he pondered for a moment before speaking. "I only know about this place called Earth from you. I have never heard of it before. With my current ability, I should be able to barely help you. Presumably, you do not know what plane Earth is located in or what galaxy." "Galaxy?" Ningqing froze for a moment, but he quickly reacted. He had a rank 5 battle disc, which indicated that there were countless technological true cultivator civilizations in the universe. It was not surprising that elder brother Tsang Wei came from a technological true cultivator civilization. After understanding this, Ningqing quickly spoke up, "Elder brother Tsang Wei, I know that Earth is located in the Milky Way galaxy. Milky Way galaxy? I have never heard of it. However, this is not important. My heaven-opening talisman does not have high requirements for the coordinates of the galaxy. The heaven-opening talisman is not something that can be compared to the cosmic flying saucers or the dark void airship. The heaven-opening talisman can help you find the place where you were born as long as you follow your soul essence. Fortunately, you should have a soul essence body, so your soul essence has not changed. Song Wei nodded and spoke. When Ning Cheng heard this, he asked in shock, Elder brother Song Wei, did you come from a technological planet? What is the dark void airship? Can the dark void airship also take me back to Earth? Song Wei showed a faint smile. After you enter the void in the future, you will understand how vast and boundless the starry skies are. Although a technological civilization is good, I think that it is far from being comparable to a true cultivator civilization. I do not come from a technological civilization, but from a real true cultivator planet. As for the dark void, I will explain it to you. The void between the planes is called the dark void. Moreover, between the planes is the bright void. Some people even call it the void. Those who can tear through the void and travel between realms are all mighty cultivators. I have never seen a product of a technological civilization that can directly tear through the void. As for the dark void airship, it is even more impossible. The dark void airship can indeed shuttle between the planes, but it is far inferior to tearing through the void. As if afraid that Ning Cheng would not understand, Song Wei added a sentence. For example, if a technological flying saucer wants to go from one planet to another, then it must have a clear coordinate, and then it must have a clear route. But for a real true cultivator, as long as they use their bare hands, they can tear through the void between the two planets, and reach it in just one step. To put it bluntly, it is like a wall. You have to go from one side of the wall to the other side, while the technological civilization has to bypass this wall in order to reach it. As for the true cultivators, they only need to break through this wall. Do you understand? Ning Cheng nodded. Song Wei's explanation was very thorough, coupled with the fact that he came from Earth, a technological civilization. Although Earth was a backward technological civilization, it was still a technological civilization. For the people of Earth, whether it was Mars or the Moon, they would have to fly step by step. You have a rank 5 battle disc. I have seen this thing before. In the void, there are many of these battle discs. The Yixing mainland's true cultivators are very backward, but you can still use it. Song Wei apparently knew all the things in Ning Cheng's ring. Can elder brother Song Wei tear through the positional plane? Ning Cheng was more concerned about whether Song Wei could tear through the positional plane. If he cultivated to a certain extent, then even if he could tear through the positional plane, it would still be an incentive for him. Song Wei's tone turned dignified. I can now tear through the positional plane, but I will need the help of the heaven-opening talisman. I heard that there is a person called Fu Lai who can already refine a talisman that can tear through the positional plane. This person not only has an incomparably powerful cultivation, but the talismans that he refines are also unparalleled. Chapter 360. Seeing that Ning Cheng did not seem to understand, Song Wei once again explained, you should not think that passing through to the positional plane is very simple. Many of the powerhouses who could sweep through a positional plane might not necessarily be able to pass through the positional plane. Although the dark void ship could fly between planes, it had to pass through countless voids, and it also needed clear coordinates. Not every place could be bypassed to enter another plane. As for the flight time, I'm afraid you can't even imagine it. There were countless dark void spaces between planes. As long as you could cross them, you would be able to cross them even without tearing them apart. I've been to other planes before, but I've always relied on myself to fly and accumulate experience over time. Of course, I only went to ordinary planes, so it was relatively easier. Some planes can't be entered just by taking a detour. Elder brother Song Wei, I heard that the laws of the Yixing mainland are not complete, and that there is a heaven's way that can be used to leave the Yixing mainland. Is that an interface? This was the first time that Ning Cheng had heard so many things that he had never heard of before, causing him to feel even more insignificant. Song Wei nodded and spoke. You're right, The fact is that every planetary domain has its own set of restrictions. Once your ability exceeded the rules of this planet, the rules of this planet's interface would not allow you to exist. Instead, you would automatically ascend to another high-level interface. The graceful star mainland's laws were broken, making it impossible to cultivate to the highest level. Therefore, in order to seek a higher realm, some cultivators can only rush through some of the weaker passageways, such as the Heaven's Road, which is also called the boundary point of the realm. Seeing that Ning Cheng still wanted to ask, Song Wei waved his hand and spoke, "You will understand these things in the future. Now I will tell you how to pass through the positional planes. You must listen carefully." "Elder brother Song Wei, please speak." Ning Cheng replied cautiously. Song Wei's face also turned dignified. Passing through positional planes is extremely dangerous. Even with the help of the heaven-opening talisman, it would still be filled with dangers. Ning Cheng's heart moved as he asked, "Big brother Song Wei was seriously injured? Is it because he crossed through the positional plane?" He was feeling very nervous in his heart. If Song Wei, with his cultivation, was able to use the heaven-opening talisman to pass through the positional planes, then whether or not he could keep his small life, it was really hard to say. Song Wei gave a proud smile. "Even if I did not have the heaven-opening talisman, I would have gone to other positional planes. Even with the heaven-opening talisman, I was still injured. Wouldn't that make me trash? I was injured when I was fighting for the heaven-opening talisman. At that time, the heaven-opening talisman didn't bring me alone. There was another group of people, but I don't know how many of them survived." Ning Cheng was shocked in his heart. Song Wei was the person with the highest cultivation that he had ever seen. If such a person was injured, then just how many powerhouses were there in this world? "You're thinking that even with my powerful cultivation, I can still be injured, right? Brother Ning Cheng, in the future when you go to the vast universe, you will understand that your talent is not even worth mentioning in the vast universe. Right now, you can even defeat opponents of a higher realm than you, but in the vast universe, there are countless cultivators of the same realm who can defeat you. You have the mysterious yellow bead, so you cannot be presumptuous. Otherwise, you would not be far from falling." Song Wei saw through Ning Cheng's thoughts and patiently warned him. Ning Cheng clenched his fists. He had the mysterious yellow bead, and his thinking was countless times more powerful than ordinary people. If he was still weaker than others in the void, then he really would be too weak. He was a competitive person, and the reason why he did not work hard in his studies was because he knew that it would be too easy for him to get the first place. Those who he had seen before, he simply did not consider them as opponents. Seeing Ning Cheng's expression, Song Wei nodded. Without the heart of a powerhouse, without the pursuit of winning, one would not even need to enter the void, as one would be eliminated before even entering. Although Ning Cheng was currently very weak, he was still optimistic that Ning Cheng would have a place in the future. The mysterious yellow bead would not casually recognize a master. You don't have to think too much about it, it's still very far away. Let's talk about the dangers of the heaven-opening talisman breaking through planes. In the dark void, there are countless worlds of laws. Once the heaven-opening talisman accidentally bumps into a world of laws, then it would be very dangerous. The most terrifying thing is the world of the laws of time. Once the heaven-opening talisman bumps into this law, then you would return to Earth countless years ago or even countless years later. Song Wei's expression became more and more serious. If time shifts by hundreds or thousands of years, then you might not be able to see the people you want to see. Therefore, you have to be prepared for this. However, my comprehension of the laws of time and the laws of space is quite good. Even if I encounter this kind of world of laws, the heaven-opening talisman should be able to avoid it. Even if I bump into it, there is nothing I can do about it. I don't know how many of these worlds of laws there are. I believe that my luck would not be so bad. Ning Cheng spoke with some worry. How bad luck? Do you know the value of this kind of world of laws? It's simply a priceless treasure. Some of the wandering hunters who live in the dark void all year round just want to find these worlds of laws. Once found, it would be a priceless treasure. If you can find a world of the laws of time in the dark void, you can sell it to a big sect or force. You can even arrange a sacred ground for the laws of time. Do you think it's precious or not? This kind of thing is not something you can come across casually. Hearing Ningqing say that it was bad luck to encounter a world of the laws of time, Song Wei spoke up speechlessly. What is a sacred ground for the laws of time? Ningqing didn't know anything about the laws at all. That is, if you cultivate in a sacred ground for the laws of time for a long time, then only a very short amount of time would have passed outside. You don't have to pay attention to this. If you want to comprehend the laws, you still have a long way to go. Song Wei explained. Song Wei once again raised his hand and grabbed a pot of spiritual wine brewed from spiritual enhancement true nectar from Ningcheng's ring before drinking a few mouthfuls. Alas, it's really hard to drink a mouthful of wine. This wine is as bland as water. The second thing I want to tell you is that with your current ability, you can't bring life through the positional plane. In your miniature world of life, there is a good little thing. However, it would be very difficult to bring this little thing back. The life fluctuations coming from it would turn your miniature world into dust. Ningcheng felt shocked in his heart. He had to go back and bring his little sister Roland to the graceful star mainland. His little sister was alone on Earth and had no relatives. When he came here, how could he not bring life with him? Elder brother Song Wei, I want to bring my little sister here. I can't bring life with me. Ningcheng quickly spoke up. Song Wei frowned and spoke up after a long while. Let me think about it. After a long time, Song Wei spoke up. I can engrave a life spirit array formation outside your miniature world, but this array formation would require the support of your lifespan. After you return to Earth, your cultivation will drop to almost zero. You will have to wait until your cultivation is restored before you can activate the talisman to return here. Remember, with the little thing in your ring, you can only bring your little sister back. Otherwise, your lifespan would not be enough to burn. Elder brother Song Wei, I'm willing. Ningcheng spoke up without hesitation. Song Wei nodded and spoke, You are very good to your little sister. I will definitely help you this time. You can separate a trace of your life essence for me. After you return to Earth, the life essence on your talisman will automatically restore itself to you. Ningcheng was so excited that he did not notice that Song Wei had only said that he was very good to his little sister Ruolan, but did not say that he was very good to Grey Toot Toot. It seemed that Ningcheng burning his lifespan for Grey Toot Toot was a very normal thing to him. The tearing pain of his life essence almost made Ningcheng faint. It was simply a heart-tearing and lung-splitting pain. Splitting his life essence was so painful that it made Ningcheng want to kill Suanjin even more. This woman had cut off a trace of Qionghua's life essence when Qionghua was only 10 years old. It was simply unforgivable. Song Wei raised his hand and grabbed the trace of life essence that Ningcheng had handed to him. At this moment, he started to appreciate Ningcheng even more. Ningcheng was very decisive and did not show even half a shred of hesitation. If replaced with an ordinary cultivator, they would definitely hesitate to split their life essence. After all, they would end up putting their life in the hands of others. After Song Wei received Ningcheng's life essence, he suddenly raised his hand and the golden talisman suspended in the air suddenly shrank and fell into Song Wei's palm. Song Wei opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of essence blood. At the same time, his hand continued to draw on the heaven-opening talisman. After an hour, the heaven-opening talisman suddenly dropped a palm-sized pale golden talisman. Song Wei then put Ningcheng's life essence into the talisman and continued to draw array formations. A day later, Song Wei's face turned pale as he handed the talisman to Ningcheng and spoke. This talisman is derived from the heaven-opening talisman. You can use it twice, once to go back. In the future, when you come back, you will also be transferred to this place. Elder brother Song Wei, you derived this talisman from the heaven-opening talisman for me. Will it affect the heaven-opening talisman? Ningcheng saw that Song Wei had just restored his corporeal body, yet he had already helped him with such a big favor. Moreover, he even used his own heaven-opening talisman, causing him to feel somewhat apologetic in his heart. You don't have to worry about it. After you finish using this talisman, you can keep it with you. Maybe in the future, when we meet again, you can give this talisman to me. Song Wei spoke with a smile. He could see that Ningcheng's character was similar to his own, a person who knew how to be grateful. Ning Cheng carefully grasped the pale golden jade talisman in his hands. There was no need to say any words of gratitude. He had already decided in his heart that he would definitely return this small talisman to elder brother Song Wei in the future. After another hour, Song Wei handed over the ring engraved with the life essence array to Ning Cheng and spoke, "I have done everything I could to help you. As for whether you succeed or not, it will depend on your luck and opportunities." After Ning Cheng received the ring, Song Wei once again spoke, "Your cultivation method is self-contained, as such I will not give you a cultivation method. As for the comprehension of the laws in the future, you will have to rely on yourself. Only in this way would you be able to go further. I will also have to leave this place to restore my own cultivation. Staying here would not help me in any way. I don't know where I can find elder brother in the future, but I believe that one day, I will also be able to set foot in the vast starry skies." Ning Cheng spoke. His first thought was to return the talisman in his hands to Song Wei, so that Song Wei's heaven-opening talisman would not be damaged. Chapter 361. Song Wei smiled, "I have always been wandering around, and do not have a fixed place to stay. When you have the ability to leave this plane in the future, we will definitely meet again. Your magic weapon seems to be an axe and a spear. I will give you a suggestion. You are more suitable for a spear magic weapon. Your research on array formations is also not bad. I will help you refine that axe into an axe-killing array. It will also be of some help in the future." "Many thanks, big brother. I was worried that I would not be able to make my cosmic true devil axe stronger," Ning Cheng said in a pleasantly surprised voice. Since that spear had become his most powerful move, Ning Cheng had been thinking about how to use the axe intent that he had mastered. He had previously thought about refining the cosmic true devil axe into a small axe, but no one could help him with it. At that time, elder sister Shu had invited that Master Nong to use a wooden tablet, but he was only able to refine a rough product. Fortunately, as his cultivation level increased, the demonic chi's effect on him became less and less. In the end, it almost didn't affect him at all. "Since you've acknowledged me as your big brother, let's call each other brothers. You don't have to thank me." Song Wei was in a very good mood. If it was an ordinary person who saved his life, he would follow the terms of the exchange. However, Ning Cheng was not an ordinary person. Not only did he appreciate his temperament, but he also had an extraordinary opportunity. The incomparably hard cosmic true devil metal, in Song Wei's hands, was just like mud, unable to withstand even a single blow. In just a short time, the true cosmic devil metal had turned into 36 small axes. Ning Cheng found that the colors of these small axes were also different. There were 18 black small axes and 18 golden small axes. "This axe of yours has two materials. I will separate them for you. I used the cosmic true gold to refine 18 cosmic true axes, and then used the extreme devil true gold to refine 18 extreme devil true axes. It should be enough for you." Song Wei handed the 36 small axes to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng grabbed the 36 axes and almost felt shocked. These 36 small axes, each one of them seemed to be a best quality true artifact. Elder brother Song Wei's technique was simply too terrifying. How long had it been? It was as easy as raising a hand. "My strength is still limited, so I can't help you refine that spear. Furthermore, I'm not even sure about the material of that spear. Before we part ways, I will give you another spiritual technique." Song Wei finished, as he raised his hand and grabbed a jade strip from Ning Cheng's ring. In just a short time, the jade strip once again fell into Ning Cheng's hands. Seeing that Ning Cheng wanted to study the jade strip, Song Wei waved his hand and spoke, "You can study this jade strip when you have free time. I estimate that it would take some years. You can use the talisman to go back now. After I send you off, I will also leave this place." "Good." Ning Cheng simply put away his things and stood up. "I have completely activated the talisman for you. Hang the talisman on your chest. Once your spiritual sense enters the talisman, you will know how to teleport away." Song Wei, on seeing Ning Cheng stand up, immediately spoke up. Ning Cheng had already noticed that the pale golden-colored talisman in his hand had a thin blue line on it. He hung the talisman around his neck, and as his spiritual consciousness swept into the jade talisman, he immediately felt a vast power coming from it. He didn't even need to spend any effort to communicate with the jade talisman. The jade talisman instantly transformed into a golden light that completely covered him. In just a few breaths, Ning Cheng disappeared without a trace from where he stood. Song Wei sighed and spoke, "Brother Ning Cheng, I can only help you with this much. You will have to rely on yourself in the future. I have stayed here for too long, it is time for me to leave." Finished speaking, the huge heaven-opening talisman in Song Wei's hands turned into countless golden lights. These rays of light were much thicker than the rays of light covering Ning Cheng's body. After a few breaths, the rays of light dissipated, and Song Wei also disappeared. There was nothing else here except for the long, winding Clearwater River. As one of China's 3 major cities, the ocean capital, no matter which street it was not lacking in people. Not to mention the ocean capital's pedestrian street. Even if today was not a weekend, the ocean capital's pedestrian street was still very lively. The autumn sun's ultraviolet rays were not too strong. Coupled with the cool autumn wind, more people were willing to walk outside. Although the autumn weather could change, but it was not as strange as it was today. The sky was clear and boundless a moment ago, but suddenly a gust of wind blew, and the sun was instantly covered up. The gloomy sky indicated that heavy rain was coming. In fact, when the sky turned dark, there was already a drizzle falling. The originally bustling streets were in a panic. In this weather, no one was willing to bring an umbrella. All the people rushed to the major shopping malls, or some other places where they could take shelter from the rain. As for those who lived close to their homes, they even ran back home with all their might. Alas, it's not easy to come out, but unexpectedly caught up with this kind of weather, it's really depressing. The one who spoke was a short-haired girl, very delicate and pretty. Next to this short-haired girl, there was also a long-haired girl. She had an ordinary appearance, and was the kind of existence that would be inconspicuous in a crowd. At this time, the two of them were taking shelter from the rain under the eaves of an eye shop. Hearing the words of the short-haired girl, the long-haired girl smiled and said, "It's true, when I came out, I also looked at the weather, and it said that there would be no rain today." "You actually believe in the weather forecast. I really admire you," the short-haired girl said helplessly. After she finished this sentence, the sky became even darker, and the visibility was even worse than a moonlit night. The tornado even rolled up the shredded paper on the ground. At this time, a bang sound rang out, as a shadow fell from the sky, landing on the flower bed in the middle of the pedestrian street, smashing all the flowers and plants on the flower bed into a ball. "Someone just fell from upstairs. He should be doing renovation work. I don't know if it's all right. Should I call 120? The short-haired girl saw the figure falling down, and immediately spoke in a panic. The long-haired girl stared at the flower bed with wide eyes. Her eyes were not like the eyes of others since childhood. She could see a lot of things that others could not see, and the visibility at night was also much better than that of ordinary people. Just now, she clearly saw that the person who fell definitely did not fall from upstairs, but really fell from the sky. No one around saw it, but she was sure that she did not see it wrong. She absolutely did not see it wrong. Because there was no place for renovation, it was impossible for a renovation worker to fall from upstairs. She saw with her own eyes that the person fell from the dark clouds, and then landed on the flower bed. "Su Li, are you all right? Did I just ask you something?" The short-haired girl saw that the figure who fell on the flower bed did not move for a long time, and quickly pulled the long-haired girl next to her. The long-haired girl called Su Li's side and spoke. "Rain Numinous, I'm fine, I'll go see that person." "Are you crazy? Let's just stay here. Don't go over. If something happens, it would be hard to explain. At most, we can just call 120. The short-haired girl quickly spoke up. Su Li acted as if she did not hear the words of the short-haired girl, and immediately rushed over. At this time, the rain started to fall. "How are you?" Su Li rushed to the flower bed and asked anxiously. She had already seen the person who fell from the sky. He looked to be in his 20s, with a face covered in dust and a lot of white hair. Moreover, the clothes on his body were tattered, and the style was also very strange. to the point where he did not even have enough clothes to cover his body. Looking up at the familiar square characters, Ning Cheng secretly gave out a sigh. He saw a girl coming over to ask and quickly spoke up, "I'm fine, thank you. I was doing some renovation work on the opposite side, and accidentally fell down." Su Li felt even more strange. This youth who fell from the sky seemed to be very familiar with this place. Was it not the bizarre thing that she had imagined? Ning Cheng finished speaking and immediately checked his own situation. Fortunately, the jade talisman was still hanging on his chest, safe and sound. Although he could feel the ring from his miniature world, he could not see it. The clothes on his body were like that of a beggar, hanging on his body in tatters. Fortunately, they could still cover his body. He could feel that his whole body was very weak, with not even the slightest bit of his cultivation remaining. Even a drop of his spiritual consciousness could not be found. Ning Cheng sighed, but did not feel too worried. The spiritual qi in this place was indeed very weak. He believed that as long as he spent a little time and restored his spiritual consciousness, he could then take out the spirit stones from his ring and continue to restore himself. Once he had the spirit stones to restore himself, it would only take him a few months at most, before he could restore himself to the 4th level of soul sculpting realm. "Can I help you?" Su Li, on seeing Ning Cheng struggling to stand up, quickly came forward to support Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng looked at this very ordinary-looking girl in doubt. At a glance he could tell that she was a student. Were all the students so helpful these days? At that time, if he encountered such a thing, he would not even have the time to hide. So how could anyone come forward to help him? "Thank you, I can still do it. By the way, what day is it today?" In fact, Ning Cheng wanted to ask what year it was. What he feared the most was that there was a gap of countless years between now and the time when he left. Unfortunately, he seemed to have fallen in the middle of a pedestrian street and did not see any cars around him. Otherwise, he would have been able to judge how many years had passed by looking at the cars around him. "Today is Thursday." Su Li's answer made Ning Cheng a little disappointed, but he also knew that this answer was normal. However, he immediately saw the mobile phone in Su Li's hand. "I want to make a call to my younger sister. Can you lend me your mobile phone?" Ning Cheng pointed to Su Li's mobile phone. "Don't." Li Yuling had already arrived, and on hearing Ning Cheng ask for the mobile phone, she quickly whispered in Su Li's ear. She also suspected that Ning Cheng was not a renovation worker, but Ning Cheng's attire clearly showed that he was a beggar. "It doesn't matter, you can take it." What surprised Li Yuling once again was that Su Li really sent the mobile phone into Ning Cheng's hands. October 27, 2017, when Ning Cheng saw the date, he felt a bit more comforted in his heart. 3 years had passed, but fortunately, it was not too outrageous. Looking at the billboards on the street, this place should be the ocean capital. If he wanted to find Rualan, then he must first go to Jiangzhou. Chapter 362. Ning Cheng held Su Li's mobile phone in his hand in a daze. At this moment he suddenly felt that he had let down his younger sister. Just like him, Rualan did not own a mobile phone. 3 years ago, even middle school students had cell phones, let alone Rualan, who was about to graduate from university. He did not care about his cell phone as there was a phone in the dormitory, but he did not expect that Rualan would need a phone after graduation. Whenever he called Rualan before, he would either call the dormitory or Rualan's roommate, Dai Exit. Rualan never ran around. Every time he looked for her, he would be able to find her. He actually did not remember to buy his sister a cell phone. Ning Cheng pulled at his own hair. As an elder brother, he really was derelict in his duties. Li Yuling closely stared at Ning Cheng. She was even prepared. As long as Ning Cheng tried to run, she would immediately grab the phone. The sky gradually cleared up, and the rain did not fall. Many people walked on the street again. She didn't believe that she wouldn't be able to catch him if he dared to snatch her phone and run away. Unfortunately, Ning Cheng was just in a daze and did not escape from the beginning to the end. "This elder brother, did you forget your phone number?" Su Li, on seeing Ning Cheng's gaze, quickly asked. Ning Cheng came back to his senses and quickly said, "Yes, I just remembered the number. I'm sorry, I have to delay you for another minute." "It doesn't matter, feel free to use the phone." Su Li showed a faint smile and spoke very patiently. Ning Cheng directly dialed Diaxian's cell phone number, but from the phone came the number you have dialed has been disconnected. Voice, which made Ning Cheng somewhat disappointed. He knew that this kind of thing was very normal. After graduating from university, many students would move to another city, and most people would change their phone numbers after moving to another city. Thank you. Ning Cheng returned the phone to Su Li. At this moment, he unexpectedly felt somewhat at a loss. Perhaps after he recovered his spiritual sense, he would be able to search for his sister one by one, and eventually find her. You're welcome. Su Li smiled as she took the phone, but did not leave and continued to look at Ning Cheng. Li Yuling breathed a sigh of relief and pulled Su Li, let's hurry back to school. Let's wait a little longer. I don't have anything to do today. After Su Li casually replied, she then looked at Ning Cheng and spoke. I still don't know your name? It just so happens that it's time for lunch. Let's go have a meal together? This time, not only Li Yuling, but even Ning Cheng also looked at Su Li in surprise. Of course, Li Yuling was surprised. Although Su Li's appearance was very ordinary, she had a unique, noble temperament to her. Her temperament, coupled with her extraordinary family background, also attracted the pursuit of many men. However, Su Li never went on a date with a male student alone, let alone inviting a male student to a meal. Was Su Li bewitched today? Or did Su Li suddenly become love-struck? Ning Cheng showed a slight frown. He had previously thought that Su Li was the kind of girl who would help others. But now he felt that it should not be the case. Even if he wanted to help others, he would not treat a renovation worker to a meal for no reason. Did Su Li see him fall from the sky? That wasn't possible. His descent was accompanied by spiritual power fluctuations. Not only was his speed incomparably fast, but the visibility was also absolutely low. How could someone who hadn't cultivated before see it? Ning Cheng looked up at Su Li, an ordinary-looking girl, with a kind of tranquil aura. This kind of tranquil aura set off her unique temperament. However, Ning Cheng quickly stared at Su Li's eyes. This girl's eyes were somewhat different. Ning Cheng was a cultivator. As such, he could feel the fluctuations of spiritual aura coming from Su Li's eyes. In just an instant, Ning Cheng understood what was going on. Su Li's eyes were different from ordinary people's eyes. She could see the fluctuations of spiritual qi. She must have seen him fall from the sky. Therefore, she must have approached him with a purpose. However, Ning Cheng did not care about this. If replaced by anyone else, wouldn't they also do the same? Since Su Li had seen it, then in the future when his cultivation recovered, he would definitely give her some benefits. After all, it was fate that brought them together. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng did not continue to refuse. He nodded and spoke. My name is Ning Xiaoqing. Eating together is certainly not a problem. However, I don't have any money on me. I will have to ask you to spend some money. Although Ning Cheng had lost his cultivation, it was only a temporary loss of cultivation. His foundation was still there. Even if he did not eat for many years, as long as he had a bit of spiritual qi, he would not starve to death. Great, elder brother Xiaoqing. My name is Su Li, and this is my classmate Li Yuling. Su Li, on hearing Ning Cheng agree, became even more happy. Li Yuling swallowed a mouthful of saliva. She really did not think that such a thing would really happen. This renovation worker not only agreed to Su Li's invitation, but also said that he did not have any money. The world in her eyes had turned completely chaotic. To be able to invite a beauty like her to a meal, even if he was a renovation worker, he would not say that he did not have any money, right? How much would a meal cost? She had heard that the wages of renovation workers were very high. I know a place that serves good food. It is not far from the pedestrian street. Su Li feared that Ning Cheng would go back on his words, and quickly spoke up. Ning Cheng gave an sound, but did not say anything. In his heart, he was thinking about how to borrow some money from Su Li. At the very least, he needed to find a place to stay, then buy a set of clothes and take a bath. The three people each had their own thoughts. Just as they walked out of the pedestrian street, Ning Cheng suddenly stopped, while simultaneously staring at a coffee shop on the side of the street. Just a moment ago, he unexpectedly felt a trace of spiritual chi fluctuations. Although his cultivation had not yet recovered, but in this place where spiritual chi was scarce, even a slightly heavier spiritual chi fluctuation could be detected by him. The two students, please wait here for a moment, I'll go in and wash my hands before coming out. Ningqing did not wait for Su Li to answer and hurriedly entered the coffee shop. Li, are you crazy? This person's origin is unknown, moreover he is a renovation worker from outside. Why would you lend him your phone, and even invite him to a meal? This is not your style at all. As soon as Ningqing walked away, Li Yuling grabbed Su Li's arm and anxiously spoke. Su Li inadvertently moved a strand of her long hair behind her face, before she spoke with a smile. Yuling, I feel that he has some affinity with me. Besides, he is living alone outside. Inviting him to a meal would not be a big deal. Li Yuling stared at Su Li with wide eyes. Li, did you fall in love at first sight? Would you do that to a renovation worker? What? Su Li patted Li Yuling's shoulder. Don't you feel that, although this person looks very distressed, but in fact his temperament is countless times more noble than our classmates? Li Yuling froze for a moment, and only spoke up after a good while. That's really the case. When you helped him a moment ago, I felt that he was very proud of himself, not you. This feeling is really strange. Su Li secretly nodded in her heart. Sure enough, Li Yuling also had this kind of feeling. She was sure that this Ning Xiaocheng was not ordinary. Even if she was seeing things, this Ning Xiaocheng was definitely not an ordinary person. A waiter in the coffee shop did not stop Ningqing, allowing Ningqing to rush up to the second floor. Standing at the top of the stairs to the second floor, Ningqing stopped. He had already recognized the person in front of him. Although he had his back to him, he still remembered him. Ningqing never thought that the first acquaintance he would see after coming back would not be his little sister, but rather the person he did not want to see the most, Tian Muwan. If he had known that it was Tian Muwan, Ningqing would never have come looking for her. When his heart was occupied by Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei, the name Tian Muwan was getting further and further away from him. Even after returning to Earth, he had never thought of this name before. Tian Muwan was still the same, with her long hair falling on her shoulders. Just looking at her back gave her a delicate and pretty feeling. Ningqing found that he was not as excited as he had imagined. Even his breathing was the same as usual. He sighed slightly. He understood in his heart, in any case, he would never be able to treat this woman the same as before. The only thing that he did not understand was that Tian Muwan turned out to be a cultivator at the Qi Gathering 4th level, which made Ningqing very puzzled. The spiritual Qi that he had felt a moment ago was from her body. It could be seen that she had just advanced to the intermediate stages of the Qi Gathering realm and was still unable to control the flow of spiritual Qi. Sir, this is the VIP private room. Please go downstairs. Almost at the same time as the waiter pulled Ningqing, Tian Muwan turned her head. It's you? Tian Muwan looked at Ningqing in shock and did not respond for a long time. Ningqing looked at Tian Muwan in front of him. She still had a beautiful face, she still had a slender and elegant figure, and still had a refined temperament. There was something in his heart that suddenly broke, just like a firework that was blown away by the wind. It looked very beautiful, but after it bloomed, that touch of beauty could only remain in the bottom of his heart. Shi Qianghua and Ji Luofei's shadows constantly appeared in front of his eyes. Tian Muwan was outstanding, but compared to Shi Qianghua, the difference was not even a little bit. Whether it was appearance or temperament, there was no way to compare. Even Yan Ji and Nalan Rushue were better than Tian Muwan. Ningqing suddenly had a thought. This comparison was very unfair to Tian Muwan. He shook his head. What was there to talk about? But why did he have to make this comparison? This was simply an insignificant thing. Ningqing slowly turned his head and walked down the stairs. He did not greet Tian Muwan. He felt that it was not necessary. When she had given him the pearl hair clip that she had given him, and let that person throw the pearl hair clip into the gutter in front of his eyes, at that time, the scenery no longer belonged to him. Or rather, at that time, the scenery was not what he wanted. Ning Xiaoqing. Tian Muwan tried to calm herself down. You came back. She suddenly felt a tearing pain in her heart. It was better not to see him again. If she could, she would rather never see Ning Cheng again. She had never thought that after a few years, she would see Ning Cheng in such a down-and-out appearance. When the waiter saw that Ning Cheng really knew this beautiful woman, he quickly let go of Ning Cheng's sleeve and spoke, "Sir, please." Saying that, he quickly turned around and went down the stairs. In his heart, he secretly despised Ning Cheng, this kind of pretentious second young master. He obviously knew the CEO of the Tian Group, and yet still wanted to disguise himself as a beggar. Would it kill him to not pretend? Chapter 363. She did not expect that 3 years later, things would remain the same, but the people would change. Now that she was able to meet Ning Cheng again, she would have to go through Tian Muwan, and the Ning Cheng that she met again was not the Ning Cheng that she wanted. Ning Cheng's eyes were filled with a sense of loss and melancholy. She did not see the high-spirited Ning Cheng of the past, nor did she see anything that she wanted to see. But from the beginning to the end, Tian Muwan did not answer his question. Where did his younger sister Ning Rulan go? Even if Tian Muwan did not know the whereabouts of Rulan, she could at least inform him. Ning Cheng believed that after he went missing, the first person his sister would look for would definitely be Tian Muwan. When she arrived at the door, she suddenly turned around and looked at Ning Cheng, who was sitting motionlessly, and spoke. "This time's Ocean City World Trade Fair, Zheng Jiun has also come, maybe you will be able to see her." Saying that, Tian Muwan slowly walked to the door of the box and opened it. She didn't say whose birthday it was or how much money was in the card. Zheng Jiun was moved in her heart, and was just about to speak, when she heard a crisp female voice speak up from the side. "Elder brother Xiaocheng, I helped you buy a set of clothes, why don't you try it on and see if it fits?" We also just got to know brother Xiaocheng. He was in the front doing some renovations when he fell from the building. Fortunately, I was not injured. Are you also a friend of elder brother Xiaocheng? Li Yuling's mind was very flexible. She knew that Zheng Jiun was wearing famous brands all over her body, so she was definitely not an ordinary person. The World Trade Exhibition was being held in Haidu, and everyone who could participate in it was not simple. If this woman who knew Ning Cheng came here to participate in the Ocean City World Trade Fair, then perhaps she might have gotten to know another boss. As for how this woman knew Ning Cheng, she did not care about it. It was no wonder that after that incident, Tian Muwan, who had never paid any attention to her, would send her a text message saying that Ning Cheng was here. The diamond card in Ning Cheng's hand gave out a slight sound. Ning Cheng broke the diamond card into 2 halves, and then broke it into 4 pieces until he could no longer break it open. Perhaps none of this mattered anymore. Director Tung. The 2 people who walked out greeted him with smiles on their faces. Ning Cheng gave a self-deprecating smile and spoke. "I'm in the front doing some renovations, I don't know if you have the time, would you like to have lunch together?" However, Tian Muwan did not seem to know about this matter. Even if he took the initiative to ask her, she did not answer. However, all of this was in the past. No, it was already in the past. She seemed to see herself rushing towards the viaduct with a face full of tears, longing for the sudden appearance of Ning Cheng. The person in front of her was the boy that she had liked for a few years, and was also the only boy that she had ever loved in her life. At this time, when she saw Ning Xiaocheng in such a state, she only felt pain in her heart. Tian Muwan took out a card from her handbag and placed it on the table, and tried to slow down her tone as much as possible. "You can take this and use it, the secret is the birthday, I'm leaving." It was not because Tian Muwan had given him a bank card, nor was it because of Tian Muwan's attitude towards him. The man was obviously a veteran in the field of business. He did not wait for Tian Muwan to say the difficult words, and took the initiative to smile and said, "Of course there is no problem, President Tian can use it freely. Xiaolu and I also have some other things to do, so let's set a new date to talk." Ning Cheng smiled as he walked towards Tian Muwan and spoke, "Long time no see." Not to mention her own strong determination, even if her family allowed her to be together with Ning Xiaocheng, so what? After reaching the foundation building realm, she had a lifespan of nearly 200 years, and after forming her golden core, she had a lifespan of 500 years. She and Ning Cheng were no longer people of the same world. Everything that had happened before was just a beautiful fairy tale in the school. Immediately, A man wearing the same famous name brand hurriedly came over. Jing, I was just looking for you. FH's boss will also have lunch with us, we were just waiting for you. I can't wait to bite you to death, you return my big brother. Tian Muwan's gaze moved from Ning Cheng's face to Ning Cheng's somewhat messy hair. She once again felt a faint pain in her heart, as if in front of her eyes appeared the scene of the mudslide, Ning Xiaocheng carrying her on his back as he desperately tried to escape. Without Ning Xiaocheng, she would have died a long time ago. Even after Tian Muwan left, Ning Cheng still did not stand up. Tian Muwan did not explain what happened in the past, and Ning Cheng also did not ask why Tian Muwan wanted to leave in the past. Ning Cheng silently looked at Tian Muwan. He could see that Tian Muwan was very excited, even to the point that she was about to explode. There were some things that did not make any sense to explain. Tian Muwan stood up. From the beginning when she saw Ning Cheng, to the torment when they met, to the present tranquility, it was as if she had walked through her entire life. After a long time, Ning Cheng picked up the bank card. The bank card was very exquisite. It was a diamond card. At this moment, Tian Muwan's only shadow in Ning Cheng's heart also disappeared without a trace. In front of her eyes, Ning Xiaocheng's dusty face brimming with a brilliant smile. Inside the tiny restaurant, Ning Xiaocheng carefully wiped the seats over and over again. Ning Cheng broke the silence and asked with a smile, Mu Wan, are you very beautiful? In my eyes, you are just like that. It's not that my big brother is not worthy of you, it's that you are not worthy of my big brother. Zheng Jun herself was not an ordinary person. As such, how could she not know about Li Yuling's careful thoughts? She showed a faint smile, but just looked at Ning Cheng and did not answer. Ning Xiaocheng, are these your friends? Zheng Jun looked at Li Yuling and Su Li in doubt. She could see that these two girls were still students. He did not die, but not only did he not come to explain, he even let his younger sister Ning Ruolin insult him. Initially, she had listened to Zheng Jiyun's words and misunderstood him. But these years she had already paid him back. She was insulted by Ning Ruolin and was even forced to drop out of school because of her boyfriend's death. Ning Cheng did not have time to answer when the door of the booth in front of them opened and a man and a woman came out. Zheng Jiyun looked at the man with some embarrassment and after a while spoke to Ning Cheng. Xiao Cheng, why don't you come with me? Many thanks. Tian Muwan thanked him. There were some things that she would only understand after experiencing a certain amount of things. Love for her was a luxury. Moreover, after she became a true cultivator, she would not be able to enjoy such a luxury. Yes. Long time no see. Tian Muwan still could not calm down her tone. After a while, she sighed and spoke, let's go inside the booth. Ning Cheng threw the broken bank card on the table and slowly stood up. How did Tian Muwan become a true cultivator? He was not in the mood to ask. As for this bank card, he was not in the mood to use it. Not to mention Earth, even if he was unarmed and came to the Yixing mainland, he, Ning Cheng, would not lack money. However, she really could not believe what she saw in front of her. In her opinion, Ning Cheng's future was absolutely bright. She was confident that her vision was not wrong, and because she was confident that her vision was not wrong, she set up a trap and plotted against her best friend. Ning Cheng walked out of the coffee shop, and the first person he saw was not Su Li, but the second acquaintance he saw after coming back, Zheng Jiyun. He remembered Tian Muwan's words before she left, and really did not understand why she mentioned Zheng Jiyun. He also did not understand why it was such a coincidence that he happened to see Zheng Jiyun. Boo-hoo! Give me back my big brother. Hearing Ning Cheng ask about Ning Ruolin, Tian Muwan's hands once again clenched. She could never forget Ning Ruolin's crazy appearance. At that moment she even thought that Ning Ruolin would eat her up. This feeling could only be recalled. Tian Muwan brought Ning Cheng to the booth, and the two of them sat in silence for a long time. She did not know where to start. Call me by my name, or call me Little Tian. Tian Muwan sighed, and finally made up her mind. She had hurt Ning Cheng once, and Ning Cheng had hurt her even more than once. As such she would just consider it as turning over a page. Tian Muwan finally calmed herself down, and spoke with an apologetic smile. Chief Kong, elder sister Lu, because I met an acquaintance, I want to use the booth. From the beginning to the end, this man and woman did not show even half a shred of abnormality because of Ning Cheng's attire. Even when they were about to leave, they still smiled and nodded to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng secretly sighed in his heart. If Zheng Jiyun really wanted to invite him to a meal, she would not have said those words. Originally seeing Zheng Jiyun, the little bit of happiness suddenly disappeared without a trace. It was the first time for Tian Mu Wan to be insulted in public, and someone even called her a slut. Moreover, in Ning Ruolan's eyes, Ning Cheng, who she had forced to his death, was now standing in front of her alive and well. Although he looked like a beggar, and even his hair was a bit gray, but he did not die. Surnamed Tian, where did my elder brother mistreat you? If you don't like him, then just say it directly. Trampling on others with your nobility, does it give you a sense of accomplishment? Even if she did not cultivate, she and Ning Cheng would never be able to walk together. She understood Ning Cheng and Tian Mu Wan, even if Ning Cheng came to know about the misunderstanding between him and Tian Mu Wan. As long as she and Ning Cheng were like rice, and she said that she really liked Ning Cheng, with Ning Cheng's character, he would not abandon her. Zheng Jiyun, I really did not expect to see you in the ocean capital. Ning Cheng spoke with a smile. His eyes seemed to have regained the brilliance of the past. Ning Cheng was just about to go buy some clothes. When Su Li helped him, he quickly thanked her. Su Li, many thanks. As long as I have new clothes to wear, I don't care if they fit or not. Ning Cheng calmly nodded. I would like to ask, did my younger sister Rulan contact you? Do you know where she is? Ning Xiaoqing, is it really you? Zheng Jiyun looked at Ning Cheng coming out of the coffee shop in shock. She had never thought that Ning Xiaoqing, who was once an outstanding stock in her eyes, would turn out to be like this. Tian Mu Wan, who was clenching her fists, suddenly forced herself to calm down. She was already a true cultivator, so why couldn't she calm down her emotions? She had never blamed Ning Ruolan. If it was her big brother, whom she had always depended on for survival, who died, then she might have gone even crazier. What made her disappointed was that Ning Cheng was still alive, but did not come forward to explain. Zheng Jiyun had not yet spoken, when she heard a voice call out, Jiyun. Chapter 364. I won't be going, you're busy. Ning Cheng's tone turned indifferent. Zheng Jiyun apparently heard the change in Ning Cheng's tone, but she still enthusiastically took out a business card and handed it to Ning Cheng before speaking. This is my phone number, remember to call me. By the way, what's your cell phone number? I haven't bought a cell phone yet. Ning Cheng took the business card and spoke calmly. It doesn't matter, I'll give you one in a while. I'll go first, just give me a call in the evening. Zheng Jiyun gave a sweet smile. After Zheng Jiyun and the man left, Su Li spoke up in a very eager manner. Elder brother Xiaoqing, I booked a room at the hotel in front of us for an hour. You can go take a bath and change your clothes, and then we can go and eat, what do you think? Ning Cheng looked at Su Li and smiled. Thank you. You're so thoughtful, it's for the best. Ning Cheng knew that Su Li was treating him this way. He guessed that it was a bit strange for him to fall from the sky. However, in contrast, Su Li was much more scheming than Li Yuling, and Zheng Jiyun's attitude towards him was much more sincere. He looked at the fragrant gold-rimmed business card in his hand, which was engraved with the word Strong Materials Limited Company Sales Deputy Director Zheng Jiyun. In just 3 years, to climb to this position, Zheng Jiyun truly had some skills. Ning Cheng threw the business card into the trash can on the side. He would not make this call, nor did he expect Zheng Jiyun to help him. Li, my boyfriend is here, should we go back now? Li Yuling looked at the text message on her phone, before walking over to Su Li and whispering. Su Li smiled. Then why don't you hurry back, I know the way by myself. Li Yuling covered her mouth as she looked at Su Li in disbelief. After a while, she looked at Ning Cheng walking in front of her and whispered, Su Li, did you make a mistake? You went to the hotel alone with this person? Moreover, there's even a room for an hour? If people came to know about this, how would you explain it? Do you want me to explain it by myself? It doesn't matter, you can rest assured. I'm not wrong about people, elder brother Xiaoqing is not the kind of person you think. Su Li insisted. Li Yuling sighed. Forget it, I'll go back first. If there's anything, just call me immediately. I know. Su Li patted Li Yuling's hand and spoke. The Fairski Hotel was the most luxurious five-star hotel in Ocean City. However, at this time, the Fairski Hotel was participating in the Haidu World Trade Exhibition. What? Li and a man went to a hotel and booked a room? In a VIP lounge of the hotel, a middle-aged man angrily smashed the phone in his hand and stood up at the same time. Even his hands were trembling. He had never thought that there would be such a thing. Li had always been extremely self-disciplined. How could she open a room with another boy? If he hadn't come to Ocean Capital to participate in the trade fair, he wouldn't have known about this at all. As Su Li and Ning Qing walked out of the hotel side by side, she spoke up in a very happy voice. Elder brother Xiaoqing, if you tidy yourself up like this, then even our school's most handsome guy would feel ashamed of his inferiority in front of you. Ning Qing gave a smile and was just about to answer Su Li's words when he heard Su Li's mobile phone ring. Su Li connected the call, but did not speak at all. Her face turned pale before she quickly hung up the phone. Ning Qing had excellent hearing. As such, he was able to hear the roar coming from the other side of the phone. It seemed to be related to Su Li opening a room, but he did not speak. I'm sorry, elder brother Xiaoqing. I can't accompany you to eat. I have something urgent to take care of. Su Li spoke in a helpless voice. Ning Qing showed a faint smile and spoke, It doesn't matter. Many thanks. If you need my help. Ning Qing was just about to say that if she needed his help, then she could look for him. However, he thought that he did not have a fixed residence, and Su Li would not be able to find him. He quickly swallowed back the words that he was about to say. Su Li did not care about it. She took out her wallet and took out all the money in it before handing it to Ning Qing and spoke, Elder brother Xiaoqing, I still have some money here. You can use it first. Ning Qing wanted to return to Jiangzhou, but he did not have any money on him. Seeing that Su Li's family seemed to be quite well off, he also did not refuse. He put away the money and spoke, Thank you. I will return your money to you in the future. By the way, how can I find you? Seeing Ning Qing take her money, Su Li's pale face recovered a lot, and spoke with some happiness. I live in the Ocean Capital Foreign Languages Institute, Building 7, Room 302 for girls. I'll be leaving first. After reporting her residence, Su Li hurriedly merged into the main street and soon disappeared from sight. Ning Qing looked at Su Li's disappearing back and felt a lot more comfortable in his heart. He put the money that Su Li had lent him into his pocket and prepared to go to the station. As long as he had a thin supply of spiritual qi, his cultivation would definitely be able to recover. As for now, the first place he wanted to go was Jiangzhou, while the second place he wanted to go was his hometown. At this moment, a fierce bloody aura rushed over from the side of Ning Qing. Ning Qing had lived in the Yixing mainland for many years. As such, he was very familiar with this kind of aura. He instantly avoided it. Originally, when he returned to Earth, he did not worry about his own safety. Even when elder brother Zhang Wei said that his cultivation would take some time to recover, he did not care about it. After all, compared to the Yixing mainland, Earth was simply too safe. As soon as Ning Qing avoided it, the fierce bloody aura brushed past his side. Ning Qing was able to clearly see that it was a man with a sturdy appearance, who was even taller than him, definitely more than 9 meters. This man's body exuded a strong bloody aura, but also exuded a kind of murderous aura. This was definitely a person who had walked out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Ning Qing was very shocked. If he met such a person in the Yixing mainland, he would not have been surprised, but to meet such a person here, he could not explain it. Moreover, this man's essence qi was fluctuating. It was obvious that his strength was extraordinary, but he had never cultivated before. I'm sorry, I was in a hurry to go home, so a car almost hit you. The man saw Ning Qing looking at him, and quickly spoke up in a polite manner, without even half a shred of rudeness. It doesn't matter, it did not hit me. Ning Qing smiled. He could see that this man not only had a bloody aura, but this man's glabella was slightly black, with a gray line extending from his glabella to his forehead. Apparently, this man had suffered an extremely deep internal injury, to the point of death. From this, it could be seen that this man did not have long to live, At most he would not have more than a month to live. Listening to Ning Cheng's words, the man immediately remembered the scene from a moment ago. He had rushed over in a hurry, but unexpectedly did not hit Ning Cheng. It showed that Ning Cheng was definitely not an ordinary person. "My name is Yi Hui, your skills are quite good. The speed at which you dodged a moment ago is definitely not something that an average person can achieve. If you don't mind, then let's get to know each other." The sturdy man smiled and reached out his hand. Ning Cheng also reached out and shook hands with Yi Hui. "My name is Ning Xiaocheng. We hit it off at first sight. Why don't we find a place to have a drink?" Yi Hui saw that Ning Cheng not only did not show even half a shred of hesitation, but also did not show even the slightest bit of fear towards him, causing him to immediately have a good impression of him. More importantly, he was sure that Ning Cheng's skills were not below his. Ning Cheng smiled. "Brother Yin may not be suitable for drinking right now. If I am not wrong, then Brother Yin's internal organs are injured. If not treated in time, then you would only have a month to live." "Haha, I really did not read wrong. Brother Ning is also a person of my generation. Let's go, we must not stop until we are drunk." Yi Hui did not seem to put his life in his eyes, as he pulled Ning Cheng into a small restaurant nearby. After a few glasses of wine, Ning Cheng finally understood why Yi Hui was here. It turned out that he wanted to go home before his life ended. "Brother Yin, I am very surprised. How did you suffer such a heavy internal injury?" Ning Cheng found an opportunity to ask. In fact, what he wanted to ask was, "Why did you have such a terrible killing aura in this era?" Yi Hui looked at Ning Cheng in doubt. "I thought you already knew what was going on. I just came back from the border." "Border? Is there a war now?" Ning Cheng asked in amazement. How was this possible? He had only left for 2 or 3 years. How could there be a war? Moreover, the current world was very tacit. As such, there should not be a war. If only it was a war, then it would have ended sooner or later. Moreover, we are absolutely not afraid of anyone. Unfortunately, Yi Hui sighed, and after a moment said, "But it can also be said to be a war?" He seemed to remember that Ning Cheng did not even know about this and quickly asked, "Brother Ning, do you really not know what is going on?" Ning Cheng understood that something big must have happened. "Brother Yin, I have been studying medicine with my master in a remote mountain village, and have only just come out. As such, I really do not know what is going on." No wonder. Yi Hui did not doubt Ning Cheng's words. After saying those 2 words, he picked up the wine glass and drank it in one gulp. After a long while, he slowly spoke. 3 years ago, a huge meteorite fell on the Russian border. It was not a great thing, but then things got more and more terrible. The meteorite carried a huge insect nest, and the giant insects in this insect nest directly swallowed the scientists who went to investigate. Then countless insects hatched, and in just a short period of 1 or 2 months, these insects multiplied all over the world, quickly becoming a nightmarish existence. Even if he had fought with these insects for many days, Yi Hui's face still showed some horror. These insects seemed to have gone mad, attacking the cities where humans lived. In just a short period of time, countless people died, and many cities were destroyed. Ning Cheng asked in shock, "Is there no army?" If there was no army, then the places where you and I eat would have been completely occupied by the insects. These insects are several feet high. At first, there was only a kind of yellow spot insect with a sharp mouth, but later on, all kinds of insects appeared. Now the whole world is surrounded by these insects, and the countries have built various defenses at the borders to block these insects. But now, these insects are growing more and more, and they are growing bigger and bigger. Yi Hui spoke with an expression of despair. Ning Cheng was speechless in his heart. No wonder Yi Hui did not care about his own life. This was tantamount to the arrival of the end of the world. Ning Cheng was increasingly worried about Ning Ruolin. This bustling surface was actually hiding such a terrible crisis. Fortunately, these insects are still unable to fly. As such, we still have an absolute advantage. However, who can say for sure what will happen in the future? Yi Hui sighed, once again pouring himself a glass of wine and downing it in one gulp. Chapter 365. Ning Cheng remained silent. While he was worried about Ning Ruolin, he also suspected that these insects had something to do with him. 3 years ago, he did not know where the mysterious yellow bead came from and landed on his body. Moreover, the meteorite had also appeared 3 years ago. It was just too much of a coincidence. In case the meteorite was brought by the mysterious yellow bead, then it really had something to do with him. Ning Cheng secretly sighed, although this was not something he could control. However, he had decided that regardless of whether it had anything to do with him or not, before he left, he would kill all these insects. These insects were blocked by ordinary people at the border. Presumably they were not powerful things. Yin Yihui, seeing Ning Cheng silent, suddenly took out a smooth stone the size of a longan fruit and handed it to Ning Cheng and said, "This is the insect nucleus of a yellow spot insect. The reason why I can reach my current cultivation is because of the insect nucleus of a yellow spot insect. This is my biggest harvest, and I was not willing to use it. I killed a 2 feet tall yellow spot insect and obtained this. Brother Ning, if you want to have a greater development in the martial Dao, then listen to this brother and go to the border. This is a crisis, but for a martial artist, it is also an opportunity." Demon nucleus? Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart. As soon as his eyes fell on the stone that Yin Yihui handed to him, he could tell that this was not an insect nucleus, but a genuine demon nucleus. Ning Cheng was very clear about demon nuclei, some wild beasts that were about to become monstrous beasts, or even some fierce beasts, would form demon nuclei. The demon nucleus in Yin Yihui's hand had reached rank 1, indicating that it was a rank 1 monstrous beast. When some high-level monstrous beasts reached rank 5, their demon nucleus would undergo a transformation and condense into a demon core. Whether it was a demon nucleus or a demon core, they were things that low-leveled cultivators needed. In the Tsangqin province, demon nuclei and qi gathering stones were the main sources of essence qi for cultivation. Ning Cheng grabbed the demon nucleus in his hand, and a much denser heaven and earth essence qi compared to the surroundings came pouring in. Ning Cheng immediately felt that as long as he absorbed the essence qi from this demon nucleus, he would barely be able to take out the spirit stones from his ring. If he could take out the spirit stones, then his cultivation would almost be restored. Brother Ning, don't underestimate this insect nucleus. This insect nucleus can be sold for a few million, and even better insect nuclei can be sold for tens of millions. Although the martial artists at the border had their heads in their hands, none of them were poor. It was just that the insect nucleus, the insect carapace, and the sharp mouth were all expensive things. Right now, there are countless material companies that are trying to acquire these materials. Yin Yihui pointed at the demon nucleus in Ning Cheng's hands and spoke with a slightly tipsy tone. Ning Cheng placed the demon nucleus on the table and asked, "Brother Yin, since these insects came from outer space, then they must be incomparably hard. Can ordinary weapons kill them?" Yin Yihui shook his head and spoke, "Of course not. I bought my weapons from a specialized channel. The weapons of these channels were all made of various insect materials. They were extremely sharp and hard. When I returned home this time, I knew that my lifespan was coming to an end. My weapon had already been given to my comrade." Ning Cheng nodded. This was reasonable. There were no magic weapons on Earth, and ordinary weapons could not kill these bugs. Brother Yin, no matter how many bugs there are, don't tell me that the army doesn't know how to fire incendiary bombs or large-scale anti-personnel bombs. Ning Cheng asked in a puzzled manner, although he came from the true cultivation world, but he had never experienced any large-scale insect warfare. Although he had seen a beast tide of monstrous beasts, but that was a battle of magical power between the two sides. Moreover, he had also participated in such a battle. Yin Yihui sighed. "Brother Ning, you have never been to the battlefield, so you do not know the gravity of the situation. Can you kill all those insects? They are simply endless. Today you kill hundreds of millions, but tomorrow you will find that there are still so many insects outside. The reproduction ability of these insects is just too strong. As long as the insect queen is around, these insects will never dissipate." The army also tried to find the insect queen, but the aura that those insects emitted was something that even the radar could not detect. Later on, everyone summed up the experience, and that is to defend the border and not take the initiative to provoke them. These insects do not have large-scale attacks, and even if they launch small-scale attacks, they are all repelled by us. Moreover, even if we do not attack these insects, they will still attack each other. The weak are prey to the strong, and the ones that remain are even more powerful. Ning Cheng frowned. He came from the true cultivation world, so he certainly knew what monstrous beasts were the most powerful, and also knew what kind of monstrous insects were the most terrifying. The most terrifying kind of monstrous insects were these self-devouring, self-evolving insects. These insects devoured the weak, and eventually became stronger and stronger. Although the army's approach could temporarily protect the border, but after many years, once these insects finished their evolution, even if they had a strong defensive line, it would still be in vain. The borders of the various countries, in order to prevent the insects, have completely built laser walls. The cost of these laser walls is extremely high, but it is also effective in preventing the insects from entering. Since the various countries built laser walls, the number of wars has decreased a lot, and the situation has also become a lot more stable. In order to not let the martial artists fall behind, the army also allows the martial artists to enter the range of the insects and fight with the insects. In Ihue explained with his mouth, but his eyes were also filled with worry. Apparently, he knew that this was not a long-term solution. Ning Cheng did not pay attention to Inihue's words at this time. He even felt a little excited in his heart. The key to this insect tide was the insect queen. Once he captured the insect queen, in the future when he returned to the true cultivation world, he would have an incomparably powerful insect army. Thinking about fighting with others, as long as he waved his hand, endless insects would swarm towards him. Ning Cheng's eyes started to shine even brighter. Just like the last time when he sold the spiritual enhancement True Nectar at the Coiling Reef Summit, if he had an endless army of Class 9 insects above his head, who would dare to talk nonsense with him? Even if it was a crucible transformation cultivator, they would still have to look at his face. However, thinking about the endless materials and resources needed to cultivate these insects, Ning Cheng could not help but give out a dejected sigh. But in any case, he definitely wanted this insect queen. If he could take away this insect queen, then in the future, just like what elder brother Tsang Wei had said, when he went out into the universe, he would have an army of insects, which would definitely be awe-inspiring. He just did not know what kind of species these insects were, and whether they were the top-grade ones. "Brother Yin, I want to discuss something with you." Ning Cheng put away his thoughts and spoke. Inihue put down his chopsticks and spoke. "Brother Ning, please speak. Although this is the first time I have met you, but it feels like an old friend at first sight. In the future, I might have to ask Brother Ning for help." After coming to know that Ning Cheng was a martial artist, Yin Ihue had always tried to befriend Ning Cheng. In this era, martial artists were a symbol of wealth and also a manifestation of security. Although he did not have a future, he still had a wife and a son. If he could get to know a martial artist, then he would also be able to take care of him. "Brother Yin's insect core is of some use to me. I don't know if Brother Yin is willing to part with it?" Ning Cheng spoke out directly. If Yin Ihue agreed to give it to him, then he would be able to restore a part of his cultivation tonight. If Yin Ihue was not willing to give it to him, then it would take him some time to restore his cultivation. Yin Ihue laughed and spoke. "Brother Ning can take it. I took it out to give it to Brother Ning. I don't have much time left." Ning Cheng interrupted Yin Ihue's words with a smile. "Brother Yin's words are wrong. Brother Yin should have said that if you had not met me, then you would indeed not have much time left. Now that Brother Yin has met me, a trivial internal injury is nothing to worry about." Yin Ihue froze for a full 3 seconds, before he suddenly stood up and spoke. "Brother Ning, did you say that you can save me? If they could not die, then no one would be willing to die." Even Yin Ihue, who was not afraid of death, was not willing to die. He was not afraid of death because he had seen his comrades fall beside him. He had seen too many life and death situations, and had long since become numb to it. Now that he had returned to the bustling city, his numb heart had somewhat changed. Thinking of his wife and child that he would soon see, he could only use wine to cover up his desire to live. Now that Ning Cheng said that he could save him, his silent heart immediately began to jump up. Ning Cheng spoke with certainty, "Of course I can save you. Moreover, there is more than one way. The first way is to wait for the night. Tomorrow I will help you concoct a pill, which would allow you to recover on the spot. The second way is to teach you a method to cultivate your qi, which would allow you to fully recover in 3 days. Moreover, the second way would allow you to strengthen your true qi, allowing you to step into a higher level." The first way that Ning Cheng used, of course, was to absorb the demon nucleus, allowing him to restore a little bit of his spiritual consciousness and then take out his own spirit stones and pills. For an internal injury like Yin Yihui's, a simple healing pill was more than enough to heal it. The second way was the cultivation method of the I Ching mainland's martial artists. Ning Cheng already had this kind of cultivation method, but since he did not have any use for it, then he could give it to Yin Yihui. "I want the second way." Yin Yihui spoke without hesitation. To survive in this era, one needed strength and even more strength. What's more, who knew if he would get injured the next time? The pill could only be used once, that's all. "Good, then let's first find a place to stay, and then I will teach you the method to cultivate your true qi." Ning Cheng immediately stood up. He was even more eager to restore his cultivation compared to Yin Yihui. Chapter 366. Inside the cloudy Ocean Sky Hotel, Yin Yihui directly booked 2 luxurious rooms. For martial artists who returned from the border, the one thing they lacked the least was money. Furthermore, all the hotels were half price for martial artists who returned from the border. Ning Cheng taught a set of qi circulating cultivation method to Yin Yihui, while he himself returned to his room and immediately used the demon nucleus to restore his spiritual consciousness. 2 hours later, the demon nucleus in Ning Cheng's hands was still there, but the essence qi within it had already been completely absorbed by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness finally recovered a bit, as his spiritual consciousness barely fell onto the surface of the ring, as he waved his hand and took out the spirit stones inside the ring. At the same time, Ning Cheng also called out Grey Toot Toot. "I want to cultivate. Help me guard the door." After Ning Cheng threw out a few words to Grey Toot Toot, a large pile of spirit stones completely turned into spiritual qi and poured into Ning Cheng's body. A high-grade spirit stone was not something that a low-grade demon core could compare to. The absorption speed and purity were countless times higher. In less than half a day, a pile of spirit stones turned into powder, and Ning Cheng's cultivation was restored to the qi-gathering 6th level. Once again, he took out more spirit stones. This time, the absorption rate was even faster. As Ning Cheng continued to consume spirit stones, his cultivation also continued to increase. After a full 5 days, Ning Cheng's cultivation directly reached true condensation 7th level. As long as he could restore his cultivation to the 4th level of soul sculpting realm, he would be able to recover half of his lifespan. Moreover, his hair would also turn completely black. Yin Yihui anxiously paced back and forth outside Ning Cheng's room. It was difficult for him to describe his mood at the moment. Now, not only were his injuries healed, but his strength had also risen by a large margin. This should have been a very happy event, but Ning Cheng did not come out for 5 days and 5 nights. If it were not for Ning Cheng saying that no matter how many days he stayed in the room, he was not allowed to knock on the door, he would have already broken through the door. Just as Yin Yihui was anxiously pacing around in circles, the door to Ning Cheng's room suddenly opened. "Brother Ning!" Yin Yihui called out excitedly. He had finally come out. He seemed to feel that Ning Cheng was somewhat different, but as to what exactly was different, he could not tell. "Not bad, your internal injuries have completely healed." Ning Cheng was in a good mood as he patted Yin Yihui's shoulder. "This is..." Seeing Grey Toot Toot directly jump onto Ning Cheng's shoulder, Yin Yihui asked in amazement. If a cat had jumped so high, he wouldn't have cared. But this was clearly an animal that looked like a puppy, but it didn't look like a dog at all. "Oh, this is one of my pets. Ignore it." Ning Cheng spoke with a smile. If Yin Yihui knew that Grey Toot Toot's strength could instantly kill him, he really did not know what he would think. Yin Yihui did not think much about it, as he could not wait to speak up to Ning Cheng. "Elder brother Ning, The qi circulating cultivation method that you taught me is really good. I only used 2 days. Not only did my internal injuries disappear, but my strength also increased by a level. Yes, continue to cultivate. Those bugs won't be much of a threat to you in the future. After Ning Cheng finished, he thought for a moment, and suddenly took out a long knife from his robe and handed it to Yin Yihui and said, "This is for you." Yin Yihui stared at Ning Cheng's clothes. How could Ning Cheng hide such a long knife inside his clothes? Ning Cheng interrupted Yin Yihui's daze and spoke, "What do you think of this knife? How does it compare to your original weapon?" Yin Yihui immediately focused his attention on the blade in his hand, and immediately spoke out in shock, "What grade of weapon is this? Circulate your true qi and chop at this trash can." Ning Cheng pointed to the metal trash can next to him and spoke. He really could not find a worse artifact. This high-grade artifact long knife was one of the worst in his ring. This in case the knife breaks. Yin Yihui could feel the cold air coming from the knife, and knew that this knife was definitely not ordinary. As such, he was somewhat reluctant to chop it down. Ning Cheng smiled and spoke, "If this knife breaks, then this knife would not be able to kill those bugs." Yin Yihui also thought about it, and immediately raised the knife and chopped down. The metal trash can was like tofu, as it was divided into 2 halves without any resistance. This knife. Yin Yihui looked at the long knife in his hands in horror. Even if it was a battle general's knife, perhaps it would not be this sharp. Save this knife to kill a few more bugs. I'm going to find my little sister. In the future, I will go to the border to see you. I'll be leaving first. Let's meet again. By the way, you have to make your own scabbard for this knife, so as not to attract people's attention. Ning Cheng patted Yin Yihui's shoulder and quickly walked down the stairs. Ning Cheng was most anxious about his little sister Ning Rulin. If not for Rulin, he would have already gone to the border with Yin Yihui to have a look. With the might of his rank 5 battle disc, he would not even need to take action, as those demon insects would be able to flee in fear. Elder brother Ning Xiaoqing. By the time Yin Yihui reacted, Ning Cheng had already walked far away. He hurriedly rushed down the stairs, but he could not even see Ning Xiaoqing's shadow. Such a strange person. I never thought that I, Yin Yihui, would one day meet such a capable person. Yin Yihui stood at the entrance of the hotel and clenched his fists, as the fighting spirit in his heart once again soared. With the qi circulating art that Ning Cheng had given him, and with such a terrifying long knife, just how awe-inspiring would he be at the border? Although Ning Xiaoqing looked a bit younger than him, but the capable would always call him an elder brother. Ning Xiaoqing not only saved his life, but also taught him martial arts. As such, it was only right for him to call him elder brother. "Sir, please put away your long knife." A waiter standing at the entrance came forward to remind Yin Yihui with a smile. Nowadays, there were a lot of people staying in hotels with knives. As such, the waiter was already used to it. "Oh, good." Yin Yihui directly took off his coat and carefully wrapped the long knife. After wrapping the long knife, Yin Yihui was just about to go upstairs to pack up his things. He was ready to go back to see his wife and children, and then immediately go to the border. Although elder brother Ning Xiaoqing did not know which team he was in, but with Ning Xiaoqing's ability, he would definitely be able to find out where he was. He hoped that elder brother Ning Xiaoqing would be able to find his younger sister as soon as possible, and then go to the border together to fight. "Sir, please wait." A crisp and pleasant voice called out to Yin Yihui. Yin Yihui looked back and saw a pretty woman, with a slender waist that made her figure look even more voluptuous. Coupled with her very soft smile, it immediately gave rise to a favorable impression. The only shortcoming was that her lips were slightly thin. However, this shortcoming did not affect her beauty. "Did you call me?" Yin Yihui was not an arrogant person. Coupled with the fact that the other party was such a beautiful woman, he also stopped. His strength had risen, his injuries were all healed, and he even got to know an expert like Ning Xiaoqing. At this moment, he was in an extremely happy mood. "Yes, my name is Zheng Jiyun, and I work at the Strong Materials Company. Limited. This is my business card." Zheng Jiyun took out a business card from her bag and handed it to Yin Yihui. Yin Yihui quickly took the business card and spoke, My name is Yin Yihui. Elder brother Yin looks like a hero. Presumably you just came back from the border? Zheng Jiyun spoke with a smile. Yin Yihui smiled and spoke, yes, I indeed just came back from the border. What I admire the most is elder brother Yin, this kind of soldier who guards the border. Zheng Jiyun spoke with even more admiration. The sincerity in her tone made people unable to doubt her words. Yin Yihui showed a faint smile, but did not speak. He was not a soldier, but a 5-star battle officer. At the border, according to one's strength, as well as the merits of killing insects, a new standard was set for all the martial artists, which was divided into soldier, battle officer, battle general, and battle commander. Each grade was further divided into 5 stars, and he was currently a 5-star battle officer. However, Yin Yihui was also aware that there were many people stronger than him, as many as the hairs on an ox. He had relied on his fearless and desperate style to occupy a place at the border. It was also because of his fearless style that his body was riddled with scars. This time, if he had not met elder brother Ning Xiaoqing, he would have definitely died. Did I just hear you say something about Ning Xiaoqing? Do you know him? Zheng Jiyun, on seeing that the other party did not refute her saying that the other party was a soldier, simply asked directly. That's right, I and elder brother Ning Xiaoqing just met. Chief Zheng, do you also know him? Hearing Zheng Jiyun mention Ning Xiaoqing, Yin Yihui immediately became spirited. Zheng Jiyun nodded. We haven't seen each other for many years. He is the boyfriend of one of my classmates. Although Zheng Jiyun spoke about Ning Xiaoqing, in her heart she was actually thinking about how to get more familiar with Yin Yihui. The Strong Materials Company. Ltd's supply was getting worse and worse. As such, she was thinking about whether she could get some insect materials directly through the soldiers stationed at the border. No, Ning Xiaoqing looked so down and out. A soldier stationed at the border, even if he was a 1-star soldier, would not call Ning Xiaoqing elder brother. Moreover, to be able to afford to stay in the cloudy Ocean Sky Hotel, one would at least be a 1-star soldier or above. As Zheng Jiyun thought until here, her heart moved. She was prejudiced by first impressions, and had unexpectedly ignored Ning Xiaoqing. Jiyun. Zheng Jiyun's thoughts were once again interrupted. Looking at the young man who followed her, Zheng Jiyun inadvertently frowned. This fellow was just like a dog's skin plaster, constantly wandering around her. The boss is calling you. I don't know what the boss is angry about. The young man whispered in Zheng Jiyun's ear. When Zheng Jiyun heard that the boss was angry, how could she still care about her relationship with Yin Yihui? She hurriedly greeted Yin Yihui, before turning around and quickly rushing into the hotel. After Zheng Jiyun left, the young man coldly stared at Yin Yihui and spoke. Not just anyone, you can talk to them, pay attention. Yin Yihui did not even bother to answer, as he raised his hand and slapped him. This slap directly sent the young man flying a few meters away, causing him to open his mouth and spit out a mouthful of blood and a few broken teeth. At this moment, the young man felt as if there were countless thunders roaring in his ears. You dare to hit me? The young man pointed his finger at Yin Yihui, while his tone was filled with disbelief and anger. This slap would most likely cripple one of his ears. Yin Yihui slowly walked over to the front of the young man, took out a card and placed it under the eyes of the young man. You are welcome to find trouble with me. Moreover, let me tell you, not everyone can casually threaten others. Saying that, Yin Yihui raised his foot and used the sole of his foot to wipe the blood from the corner of the young man's mouth. Don't be a tortoise and let me down. 5-star battle officer? 5-star battle officer. At this moment, how could the young man lying on the ground dare to speak out about revenge? His mind trembled as he repeated these words over and over again. Chapter 367. In a secluded place, Ning Cheng brought out a simple airship-type artifact, since he had already restored his cultivation to the true condensation realm. As such, he did not need to take a car. Moreover, who knew if he needed an ID to take a bus? He really didn't have one now. Even a high-grade flying ship was much faster than a plane. Half an hour later, Ning Cheng appeared at the entrance of Jiangzhou University. The reason he came here again was not to look for Tian Muwan, as he knew that Tianmu-wan was not in Jiangzhou. He had come here to find the pearl hair clip that Tianmu-wan had thrown into the sewer. He had arrived at Jiangzhou University from Ocean City, so he thought he might as well come over to take a look. Ning Cheng was a person who cherished old friendships. As such, this pair of pearl hair clip was originally meant to be given to his closest relatives. He had given one to his sister, Roland, and he believed that he could find the other with his divine sense. Unfortunately, even if Ning Cheng used his spiritual consciousness to sweep through the sewers again and again, he could not find even half a shadow of the pearl hair clip. Ning Cheng guessed that this pearl hair clip should have already been cleaned up, as such he had no choice but to leave. Half an hour later, Ning Cheng arrived at Jiangzhou's Institute of Foreign Languages. He stood in front of the girls' dormitory of the Jiangzhou Institute of Foreign Languages. Holding on to his last hope, he scanned the girls' dormitory with his divine senses. Unfortunately, he did not know any of the girls in Rulin's dormitory. "What a cute puppy!" A clear and melodious female voice called out exaggeratedly from not far away. Apparently she had seen Gray Toot Toot wandering on the side. "Xiaocheng, look at the way this dog looks at you. Isn't there a trace of disdain in its eyes?" Another girl laughed loudly as if she had discovered a new continent. It really does have a trace of contempt in it." The boy next to him had also apparently discovered the contempt in Gray Toot Toot's eyes. Ning Cheng waved his hand and spoke, "Gray Toot Toot, let's go." With Gray Toot Toot's strength, seeing these few ordinary students, it would be strange if it did not despise them. Gray Toot Toot arrived behind Ning Cheng as it wagged its tail. "Hey, are you Ning Xiaocheng?" one of the girls called out in surprise. When Ning Cheng heard that someone recognized him, he immediately felt happy in his heart. Did he see an acquaintance? The girl who recognized him was in her 20s. She had fair skin and a pretty face. But Ning Cheng was sure that he had never seen this girl before. "You are?" Ning Cheng asked in doubt. "My name is Li Shiyun. I used to be in the same dormitory as your younger sister Ning Rulin." This fair-skinned girl had not yet finished speaking when Ning Cheng took a few steps forward in surprise. Ning Cheng's actions caused Li Shiyun to subconsciously take a step back. Ning Cheng did not notice this at all. He almost grabbed Li Shiyun's hand and spoke, "Excuse me, do you know my younger sister? Where's Rulin?" "Don't worry, this matter can't be explained in just 1 or 2 sentences. Let's find a place to sit down, I'll slowly explain it to you," Li Shiyun said in a slow tone. She could see that after not seeing him for a few years, Ning Xiaocheng did not seem to be living a very good life. When she and Ning Rulin lived in the same dormitory, she had seen Ning Xiaocheng waiting for Rulin downstairs through the dormitory window. At that time, Ning Xiaocheng was still young and inexperienced. Currently, Ning Cheng's body seemed to carry a trace of vicissitudes of life, which made Li Shiyun feel somewhat surprised. However, in any case, Ning Cheng had long since lost the youth he had in the past. Li Shiyun still remembered that one time when she was looking at Ning Xiaocheng in the dormitory, Ning Rulin had even said with a smile, "I can betroth you to my big brother." Although it was just a joke, Li Shiyun still carefully observed Ning Xiaocheng. However, later on, Ning Rulin did not say such words again. It was not until they were about to graduate that Ning Rulin came back crying, saying that her big brother had gone missing. At this time, Li Shiyun came to know that Ning Xiaocheng had a girlfriend, and that his girlfriend had abandoned him, which caused Ning Xiaocheng to go missing. Good, then let's quickly find a quiet place." Ning Cheng quickly spoke up. He simply did not care about anything else. Li Shiyun immediately recovered and quickly spoke up, "Okay." Saying that, she then turned to the man and woman next to her and spoke, "Xiang, Dongjin, I will not be following you around as a light bulb. Remember to call me when you come back." Following Li Shiyun to the coffee shop outside the campus, Ning Cheng slowly calmed down his excited heart and tried to slow down his tone as much as possible before speaking. "I'm sorry, I was a bit too excited a moment ago. Didn't you graduate a few years ago? Why are you still staying here?" Although Ning Cheng was eager to know Rulin's whereabouts, he also knew that it would be impolite to pretend not to know that Li Shiyun had appeared here. "I stayed on as a teacher and am now a lecturer. Let's talk about this later. I want to talk to you about Rulin's matter." Li Shiyun knew that Ning Cheng was anxious in his heart, and spoke up straight to the point. Seeing Ning Cheng's anxious appearance, Li Shiyun secretly sighed, adjusted her mood and spoke. 3 years ago, when we were about to graduate, Rulin learned about your disappearance. She went to Jiangzhou University to find your girlfriend, but the power of others was far beyond what Rulin could contend with. Fortunately, your girlfriend was still rational, and stopped her family from moving against Rulin. Ning Cheng became anxious in his heart. He finally understood why Tian Mu did not want to answer about his sister's matter. It turned out to be because of this matter. However, fortunately, her Tian family did not do anything to Rulin. Otherwise, no matter who made a move against Rulin, he would have directly razed them to the ground. Seeing Ning Cheng not having much of an expression when he heard about his girlfriend, Li Shiyun knew that Ning Cheng and his previous girlfriend should not have any relationship. After Rulin came back, she cried in the dormitory for 2 days. If not for Daixin taking care of her and comforting her, Rulin's body would have already broken down from crying. Li Shiyun recalled the pitiful appearance of Ning Rulin at that time, and even spoke about it now with some sadness in her heart. Even her eyes had turned red. Ning Cheng stood up and gave a bow to Li Shiyun and spoke. Little sister Shiyun, thank you for taking care of Rulin. Ning Cheng did not need to ask, although Li Shiyun did not say that she had also taken care of Ning Rulin. He could guess that Li Shiyun must have also taken care of Rulin. Hearing Ning Cheng call her little sister, Li Shiyun's face turned slightly red, and quickly spoke up, Rulin and we are sisters, this is what we should do, you don't have to worry about it. During that time, she really did take care of Ning Rulin. Because everyone in the dormitory took care of Rulin, Rulin gradually calmed down, but became even more taciturn. Ning Cheng did not continue to ask, he knew that Li Shiyun would speak about it. Li Shiyun waited for Ning Cheng to sit down, before continuing. When she was about to graduate, Rulin left Jiangzhou's Institute of Foreign Languages without even taking her graduation certificate. She said that she did not believe that you were gone, and that she must find you through her own efforts. We all thought that she missed you too much, but we did not expect that you would really still be here, alas. In other words, you don't know where Rulin went? Ning Cheng's complexion slightly changed. If Li Shiyun did not know, then what should he do? Li Shiyun hesitated for a moment before speaking. I guess she should have started her own business. She once revealed that only endless wealth could protect her and her brother from being bullied by others. As for the specific situation, Daixin should be clearer about it than me. Rulin's graduation certificate was also obtained by Daixin. You can go and look for Daixin. Ning Cheng sighed. He knew that his little sister and Daixin had the best relationship. It looks like he would have to go to Peihua to have a look. Daixin's hometown was also in Peihua. You don't have to worry, I'll give Daixin a call. Li Shiyun spoke while taking out her mobile phone. Ning Cheng saw that Li Shiyun had dialed the phone number that he had not been able to reach before, and was just about to say that the number had already been disconnected, when he heard a burst of noise coming from outside. Ah, it's Dong Zhen and Mu Xiaochang who are surrounded, I'll go and have a look. Li Shiyun, through the window of the coffee shop, had already seen the 2 people who were surrounded on the street outside. Ning Cheng nodded, and also stood up. He knew that Rulin's matter could not be rushed. It had already been 3 years. With his current speed, he would soon be able to restore his cultivation. At that time, even if he did not investigate anything, he would still be able to find Rulin through his spiritual consciousness. What's going on? Xiaocheng. Li Shiyun was a person who had been a university teacher for a few years. As such, she also had a bit of an imposing aura. As soon as she asked in a cold voice, the surroundings turned quiet for a moment. The woman wearing a pink blouse, on seeing Li Shiyun come over, hurriedly spoke up, Shiyun, this person is completely unreasonable. Dong Zhen and I had only taken out a few insect bones to look at, when he said that I had destroyed the essence qi inside the insect bones, and that he must buy them, otherwise he would have to pay for them. A single insect bone is worth a few thousand yuan. How could I have so much money? They are just blackmailing us. Dong Zhen angrily spoke, but his eyes were obviously a bit anxious, showing that he also knew that it would be difficult to escape from this kind of thing. I will immediately call the police. Are you still being unreasonable? Just touching something and you want to buy it? Could it be that those insects have already evolved to the point that they can even set up stalls? Li Shiyun's words were very powerful. With just a few words, she had already turned the people in this stall into insects that were even worse than beasts. Ning Cheng could see that the man in front of this stall was very strong, and at the same time had a bloody aura similar to Yi Hui's body. When the man in front of this stall heard Li Shiyun's words, he spoke up with disdain. "You can call the police. If you don't pay for this father's things today, then don't even think about leaving." Ning Cheng stopped Li Shiyun from calling the police and took the initiative to walk to the front of the stall. He picked up a long wooden box from the stall and was about to open it. "Don't casually open it, these are insect bones. After opening it you will lose essence chi. You will have to buy it, otherwise you will have to pay for it. Don't say that this father is blackmailing you." The stall owner pointed at Ning Cheng and spoke without any trace of politeness. Ning Cheng casually spoke up, "I want to buy your things, so of course I have to open it and take a look, otherwise how would I know if it is real or fake?" Saying that, Ning Cheng did not wait for the opposite party to speak again, and directly opened the wooden box, causing a fierce aura to overflow. Inside the wooden box, there was a grayish-brown thing, which showed that it was indeed an insect bone. Even the domain insect materials, hurricane materials, Qingrulin materials and other famous materials companies all accept my goods. How could my goods be fake? The man in front of the stall spoke up with a sarcastic tone. Chapter 368. Who told you that the insect material's primordial chi will disappear when you open the wooden box? It's just a bunch of nonsense. Ning Cheng sneered. If this stall owner misunderstood this matter, then forget it. If he really used this as an excuse to blackmail him, then he had found the right person. This father says so, now you open the wooden box. You must buy this insect bone. The stall owner said in an incomparably fierce tone. Ning Cheng suddenly remembered something, causing his hands to start trembling while holding onto the insect bone. This stall owner seemed to have mentioned something about Qingrulin's material. Given this name, could it be Rulin? He thought about what Li Shiyun had said before, that Rulin might want to start a business. What could be more profitable than this new material company? From the looks of it, Qingrulin's materials were most likely opened by Rulin. When the surrounding people saw Ning Cheng's hands trembling, they immediately understood that he was just a paper tiger. The moment he was threatened, he was terrified. Li Shiyun, on seeing Ning Cheng's state, secretly sighed in her heart, before she stepped forward and pulled Ning Cheng and spoke, "Xiao Cheng, let's buy it, I'll pay for it." Ning Cheng immediately recovered and quickly spoke to Li Shiyun. "I'll do it, I was lost in thought a moment ago." Then Ning Cheng turned to the stall owner and said, "Wrap up your stall and leave it here, we will find a place to discuss the price." The stall owner immediately slammed the thing in his hand onto the stall, and was just about to curse at Ning Cheng for daring to ask him to close up the stall and discuss the price, when he saw Ning Cheng gently break the insect bone in his hand, and the insect bone, which was only a foot long, broke into 2 pieces. Not only that, Ning Cheng superimposed the 2 pieces of the insect bone, and once again folded it, turning it into 4 pieces. The man selling the insect bones opened his mouth wide and abruptly swallowed his words back down. He was clearer than anyone else about the hardness of this insect bone. It was something several times harder than fine steel. How much strength was needed to break it just like that? Not to mention that the insect bone was only a foot long. Not only was it broken, it was also stacked on top of each other, breaking it into 4 pieces. This power wasn't just great, it was terrifying to the extreme. He was in the insect bone business, and had also killed some low-level insects outside the country, so of course he knew what this meant. He was sure that even a 1-star battle general might not be able to do it. "Do you have any objections?" Ning Cheng put the broken bones back into the wooden box, and spoke out once again in an unhurried manner. Big brother, I don't have any opinion." The man selling the insect bones hurriedly said, unable to even control his tone. He knew that if the person in front of him really had such strength, even if he killed him, he would have died in vain. This was not the world from a few years ago. The world was gradually changing. People like him, who had been at the border all year round, knew what this change meant. Even if a person who could become a warlord was killed a few times, nothing would happen to him. At most, he would have to go to the border to get his warlord status verified. Ning Qing casually threw the wooden box on the stall and said, "If you don't have any opinion, then just leave. This stall is just left here. This kind of broken stall is not something that anyone would want. I'm in a hurry, don't dawdle." The man did not dare to refute and hurriedly called out to the person behind him, "Lu Li, I have something to do. You watch the stall." Ning Qing then saw that this fellow actually had a companion, but this companion of his was timid and did not seem to have the imposing manner of this stall owner. "Big brother, this little brother is Zhao Sheng. There is a coffee shop in front. This little brother would like to invite big brother to have a drink." This man no longer had that kind of fierceness from before. Going to the coffee shop to have a drink was not to discuss the price with Ning Qing, but to think about how much money he would have to pay in order to calm down this big brother's anger. At this time, even if Ning Qing gave him money, he would not dare to take it. "Forget about a drink, you take me to a place first. If you do well, I'll forget about it this time." Ning Qing did not say anything about the place. He turned to Li Shiyun and spoke, "Little sister Shiyun, you should go back to school first. I have something to do. I will come back to see you later. By the way, Daixion's phone has already been shut down. When was the last time you called Daixin?" Li Shiyun did not see the process of Ning Qing breaking the insect bones. As such, she was somewhat puzzled as to why Zhao Sheng suddenly became so polite. "The last time was 3 months ago." Li Shiyun casually replied. Although she and Daixin were in the same dormitory, but after graduation, everyone had their own things to do. Only occasionally when they were free, would they remember to call each other to greet each other. 3 months ago, Daixin was still using the original phone? That being the case, Daixin should not have changed her phone. Then you can call Daixin again. Ning Qing knew that Daixin had not changed her phone, and quickly spoke up. "Okay." Li Shiyun saw Zhao Sheng at the side not daring to even make a sound. She knew that there was definitely a reason that she was not aware of. She did not think much about it, as she picked up the phone and dialed Daixion's number again. "It's been shut down." Li Shiyun quickly put down the phone. "I know, thank you for your help, I'll come back when I'm free." Ning Qing finished as he hurriedly left with Zhao Sheng. "Shiyun, what's going on?" Mu Xiaochang looked at Ning Qing and Zhao Sheng in a puzzled manner, as she asked in a puzzled voice. Li Shiyun also shook her head in puzzlement. She also did not understand what was going on. Mu Xiaochang's boyfriend, Dong Zhen, quickly spoke up, "Let's go back to school first." He had personally seen Ning Qing break the insect bones, and then the stall owner called Zhao Sheng panicked and left with Ning Qing. From this, it could be seen that Zhao Sheng was afraid. "Big brother, where do you want to go?" When they reached a place with fewer people, Zhao Sheng saw Ning Qing stop, as he very tactfully asked in a respectful voice. "Didn't you just say that there were 3 famous materials companies? Now take me to the Chung Rulan Materials Company, less nonsense." Ning Qing spoke in a straightforward manner. Zhao Sheng's face immediately turned bitter. "Big brother, I was just bragging a moment ago. The domain insect materials and hurricane materials are indeed famous companies. However, they simply do not accept my low-level materials, as my materials are all sold to the Chung Rulan Materials Company." "I said it like that, big brother?" Ning Qing had thought that his sister's company was also a well-known company, but now that he heard Zhao Sheng speak in such a manner, he was even a bit stunned. He immediately realized that Rulan's own business should have been very difficult, otherwise she would not have accepted Zhao Sheng's low-level materials. Ning Qing felt a bit sour in his heart. These past few years had really been hard on Rulan. "Then you can go directly to the Chung Rulan Company, don't dawdle." Ning Qing took a deep breath, as his tone turned cold. Although Zhao Sheng did not want to make Ning Qing unhappy, he still honestly explained, "The Chung Rulan Company has already closed down. I have no place to sell my materials, so I thought of a way to set up a stall in the mainland." "The Chung Rulan Company has closed down?" Ning Qing's entire body was overflowing with murderous intent, as he raised his hand and grabbed Zhao Sheng. Zhao Sheng was grabbed by Ning Qing, just like a straw. He was horrified in his heart, but at the same time he quickly spoke up, "Big brother, I don't know if it is closed down, the company's door is closed, I went there a few times, but no one came." Ning Cheng loosened his hand as he threw Zhao Sheng to the ground. "Where is the Cheng Ruolin Company? Take me there immediately." Ning Cheng was very clear about Ruolin's ability. If her company started up, it would only become more and more popular, it would absolutely not go bankrupt. Even Zheng Jiun could become the deputy director of sales of a materials company, so Ruolin's ability was definitely much higher than Zheng Jiun's. This was not because of his relationship with Ruolin, but because he knew Ruolin's ability. Yes, the Cheng Ruolin Materials Company is located in Chiang City, close to Jing City. There are no direct flights, only trains, and it would take 36 hours. Zhao Sheng's words had not yet finished, when he felt a sharp pain in his neck, before everything turned black, and he instantly fell down. After Ning Cheng knocked out Zhao Sheng, he directly brought out an airship and quickly rushed out of Jiangzhou. Although Ning Cheng had never been to Chiang City, he knew about this place. Jing City was a small city close to the border. If Ruolin chose to open a company in Chiang City, then Ning Cheng could understand it. The housing prices here were much cheaper than Jing City, and more importantly, it was not too far from the border city of Jing City. To collect the insect bone materials, of course, the company could not be located in the mainland. This time, Ning Cheng's speed was even faster, and in less than half an hour, he had already arrived at Chiang City. Ning Cheng threw Zhao Sheng to the ground and slapped him awake. "This is Chiang City, immediately take me to Cheng Ruolin Materials." "We are going to take the train." "What? We are already at Chiang?" Zhao Sheng finally reacted, as he looked around in panic, and then deliberately shook his head. After a while, he spoke up in surprise, "Are we really at Chiang? What happened to me a moment ago?" "Don't ask about what happened a moment ago, hurry up and lead the way." Ning Cheng spoke with some impatience, as he felt extremely anxious in his heart. Good. Zhao Sheng's mind cleared up a bit, as he recalled that the person in front of him seemed to have knocked him out. Since they had already arrived at Chiang City, could it be that this person could fly? He did not dare to ask. In this world, even insects could grow to such a big size. As such, it was not particularly strange for people to be able to fly. However, in his heart, he was even more in awe of Ning Cheng. He knew that Ning Cheng was very concerned about the Cheng Ruolin Materials Company. As such, he spoke while walking. When the Cheng Ruolin Materials Company was first established, it was a very good company, but later I heard that something happened, causing it to plummet. Where is the person?" Zhao Sheng spoke halfway, when he suddenly found that the person beside him had disappeared. It disappeared without a trace, and he didn't notice it at all. As Ning Cheng listened to Zhao Sheng's words, he completely swept out with his spiritual consciousness. When his spiritual consciousness fell on a somewhat rusty copper card, he was so excited that he did not even have the time to speak, before he quickly disappeared. A few minutes later, Ning Cheng entered an old building without any signs, while at the same time using his fastest speed, he arrived at the door of a room in the corner of the 7th floor. At the door of this room, there was a slightly rusty copper card, Cheng Ruolin Materials Company, Limited. Chapter 369. Ning Cheng touched the rusty brand with his hand. He was sure that Ruolin was the one who opened this company. The company's door was locked, and from the outside he could tell that there was no one inside. However, Ning Cheng knew that there was a person inside, a somewhat thin girl. She looked very ordinary, but at this time, this girl was staring nervously at the locked door of the company. She had already seen from the monitor on the computer that someone had come here. Ning Cheng knocked on the door with his hand, but he found that the girl did not have any intention to open the door, and was just carefully hiding on the side. Click. Ning Cheng put his hand on the lock outside the door, and using his true essence, he easily opened the locked door. Hurry up and get out, otherwise I will call the police. The thin girl did not think that Ning Cheng would actually be able to open the locked door, and immediately panicked. Ning Cheng waved his hand. You don't have to be nervous, I don't have any malicious intentions, I just want to ask if the boss of this company is Ning Ruolin? This office was not big, at most it was no more than 30 square meters, but a strong smell of instant noodles wafted out. Ning Qing knew that this girl must have been eating instant noodles here. What do you want? I'm just a temporary worker, I don't know anything. The girl held the phone and stared at Ning Qing defensively. Even if she kept saying that she would call the police, in fact, she still did not call the police. Ning Qing could see that this girl was very panicked. He tried to slow down his tone and spoke. My name is Ning Xiaocheng, Ning Rulin is my younger sister. If this company is opened by Ning Rulin, then I have found the right person. If not, then I will leave immediately. You are Ning Xiaocheng? The girl stared at Ning Qing in shock and subconsciously spoke out. Ning Qing felt relieved in his heart. He knew that he had found the right person. If not, then this girl would not know the name Ning Xiaocheng. Yes, I am Ning Xiaocheng. Ning Qing spoke with affirmation. Pada. The girl's phone fell on the table and her eyes immediately turned red. Elder brother Xiaocheng, elder sister Rulin and elder sister Diexin went out for half a month. There is no news at all. At this point, Ning Qing knew that being anxious at this time would not play any role. He sat down and said, You also sit down, we can talk about the company later, first tell me where Rulin went. Yes. After the girl responded, she deliberately walked to the door, and once again closed the door that Ning Qing had opened. In her heart, she still had some doubts as to how Ning Qing had opened the door. Seeing Ning Qing looking at her, the girl explained, The door cannot be opened. Once it is opened, all the things here will be moved away by others. Those people are here to collect their debts. Ning Qing took a look inside, but did not find anything else. Other than a few computers, a few printers and an old photocopier, there was nothing else of value. Does the company owe a lot of debts to others? Ning Qing asked after listening to the girl's words. The girl nodded. Most of it is interest. Ever since the first time the company's materials were stolen, we've been in debt. A month ago, the second batch of materials that the company had gathered was robbed again. So, when Ning Qing heard this, he couldn't help but feel angry. Was there still any reason for this? The item was robbed just like that? Ning Qing did not ask why, although the girl had said that she would call the police, but in fact, she did not call the police. Presumably, she knew that calling the police would not be of any use. Outside the border, there were insects that could attack at any time. In this border city, the public security was definitely not as good as the mainland. If Rulin wanted to transport materials, then it would certainly not be from the mainland. If it was transported from the border, then it would not be surprising if it was robbed. Why don't you just tell me where Rulin went? Ning Qing stood up. I don't know. I guess that elder sister Rulin might have gone to the 100 Bay Point. The girl hesitated before speaking. Where is the 100 Bay Point? Ning Qing had never heard of this place. Why would Rulin want to go there? I'm not very clear about it. I only know that it is near the border city of Kirby's. Many of the world's material merchants gather in this place, and it was founded by a group of powerful people. There are strict restrictions on who can go in, and many companies that need materials go to this place to stock up. The girl spoke out everything she knew. Ning Qing listened to the girl's tone and knew that she really did not know anything. Although he wanted to stay and ask about Rulin's situation over the years, Ning Qing knew that time was very important for him. He took out the more than 1,000 yuan that Su Li had given him and handed it to the girl and said, Don't eat instant noodles all day long, you'll have to work hard here. I'm going to look for Rulin. The girl had not yet reacted when she found that Ning Qing had already left the office. Ning Qing easily found the 100 Bay Point on the Rus-Russia border. This place was crisscrossed by railways and highways, with all kinds of planes taking off and landing from time to time. Looking at it from the air, it looked like a spider's web that extended from the center to the surroundings. Ning Qing had only stood in the air for a short time when he felt the radar sweep over him. He did not want to cause any trouble and simply landed, while simultaneously concealing his figure. A laser wall was erected around the 100 Bay Point. Ning Qing estimated that even with his current ability, he would not be able to ignore these laser walls. A variety of cars came out of the 100 Bay Point and quickly dissipated in all directions. At the same time, countless cars came in and entered the 100 Bay Point. Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness swept into the cars coming in and out, and found that most of them were filled with a variety of insect bone materials. Some were processed, while some still had bloodstains on them and did not have any processing done. Ning Cheng carefully observed and found that when these cars entered the 100 Bay Point, they had to go through 2 inspection procedures. The first scan was a ray that scanned the entire car. The second line of inspection consisted of several mastiffs and guards armed with live ammunition. Moreover, when going out, there seemed to be an additional inspection procedure. His true condensation cultivation was still too low. Ning Cheng gave a sigh and quickly rushed to the roof of an SUV, while simultaneously entering the miniature world ring. His ring was concealed, so the laser should not be able to detect it, right? Even if it was swept out, it would only be a ring. If he had the cultivation of essence building realm, he would definitely not hesitate to rush in. For Ning Cheng, to advance to the essence building realm, he would at most need 1 night. Unfortunately, he did not have the time to cultivate at the moment. The SUV quickly passed through the inspection, and just like Ning Cheng thought, no one cared about the ring on the roof of the car. After the SUV entered the 100 Bay Point, the surroundings instantly turned lively. There were all kinds of skin tones, people from all countries. A variety of materials, finished weapons, semi-finished products. Lin Yang's eyes were filled with all kinds of things. Ning Cheng entered the crowd, but did not look like anything. He first swept out with his spiritual consciousness. He wanted to find Ruo Lan first, and then improve his cultivation, before understanding the details of the situation. Ruo Lan. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness excitedly fell into a very luxurious hotel. He did not expect to find Ruo Lan so easily. However, Ning Cheng soon felt that something was wrong. Ruo Lan was staying in a luxurious hotel, but her expression was not happy at all. Not only was her face haggard, but even her eyes were somewhat scattered. Daixin was sitting next to Ruo Lan, with the same haggard expression. Both of them seemed to be somewhat numb and at a loss. Could it be that he was imprisoned? Ning Cheng did not look like it, but the entrance of the hotel was indeed guarded by several black security guards armed with guns. Ning Cheng was too lazy to think about anything else. The next moment he appeared at the entrance of the hotel, while simultaneously rushing into the hotel. Walker, why did I feel a gust of wind blowing past? A tall black security guard at the entrance of the hotel spoke up as he looked around. The black man called Walker, who was sitting opposite to him, gave a smile. He also felt a gust of wind blowing past him, but it was nothing to be surprised about. Daixin, you go back first, I'll stay here alone. Forget about the company's matter, this time it was me who harmed you. After a long time, the haggard Ning Ruo Lan spoke up in a hoarse voice. Daixin, who was sitting next to her, shook her head and spoke. Ruo Lan, even if you were to stay here alone, you would still have to pay a lot of money. Moreover, do you think that if I go out alone, they will let me go? Wait, someone is knocking on the door. At least until now, I still paid the money. Even if they knock on the door, what about it? I'll go open the door. Ning Ruo Lan stood up and found that she was walking on air. She knew that it was because she was hungry. The door opened, and the originally wooden Ning Ruo Lan stared at Ning Cheng at the door. Her lips trembled violently. She knew that she was hallucinating again. No, it was Daixin who said that someone was knocking on the door. You are Ning Xiaoqing. Daixin, who was behind Ning Ruo Lan, immediately recognized Ning Cheng and cried out in shock. I'm back. Ning Cheng saw his weak little sister, and could no longer bear the sourness. For the first time, he could not control the tears in his eyes. Big brother. Ning Ruo Lan finally understood that this was not an illusion. This was real, even more real than real gold and silver. She called out, but there was no sound. She wanted to throw herself into her big brother's arms, but she could not move. Her whole body felt as if it had been electrocuted, completely sluggish. At this moment, other than the tears flowing down uncontrollably, she could not do anything else. Every day, she would think about when she would be able to see her big brother, or at the moment of her death, she would be able to see him. But today, she finally saw her big brother. At this moment, he was standing in front of her and seemed to be crying, but she could not move. Big brother. Ning Ruolan finally called out a word in a hoarse voice, as her whole body softened. Ning Cheng quickly stepped forward and picked up Ning Ruolan. Feeling Ruolan floating in his arms, Ning Cheng's throat felt completely blocked. Why is she so thin? Why is her aura so weak? Daixin, why do you and Ruolan look so haggard? Ning Cheng felt that his voice was also a bit hoarse. Big brother Xiao Cheng, we are hungry. Daixin, on seeing Ning Cheng and Ruolan meet, could not help but cry out. She was the clearest about how much effort Ruolan had put into finding her big brother, and how much suffering she had to go through. Chapter 370. Ning Cheng knew that living in such a luxurious place, yet starving to such an extent, was definitely strange. He took out a pill and put it into Ning Ruolan's mouth. After a while, Ning Ruolan woke up. She finally understood that her big brother had truly returned. The next moment, she threw herself onto Ning Cheng's shoulder and started crying. It seemed as if she wanted to cry out all of her grievances. It was just that she was too weak. After crying for a while, she became drowsy. Ning Cheng knew that if not for his pill, Ruolan might have fainted once again. Ruolan's body was currently very weak. Even if he took out a better pill, it would not be of any use. The first thing to do was to fill her stomach. Although Ning Ruolan felt a little dizzy, she still held onto Ning Cheng's clothes tightly. Perhaps she was afraid that if she let go, her big brother would disappear again. She had been brought up by her big brother since childhood. Moreover, her big brother had also earned all of her food and lodging. Without her big brother, she felt as if she had lost the whole world. Now that her big brother had returned, how could she dare to let go? Daixin, you live here, why don't you have any food to eat? Ning Cheng asked in doubt. Daixin understood Ning Cheng's meaning. That is, living in such a luxurious place, how could they not have any food to eat? She did not know how Ning Cheng found this place. It was reasonable to say that Ning Cheng should not have been able to find this place. Elder brother Xiao Cheng, we can't afford it. A meal here is equivalent to about 100,000 Chinese dollars. Staying here for a night would also cost about 100,000. When Ruolan and I came to the 100 Bay Point, the total amount of money we brought with us was less than 2 million. We have been living here for almost half a month. If we eat here, we would immediately be kicked out. Daixin sighed and continued to explain, this hotel is the property of Delandi, one of the top 5 experts in the world. Since we live here, no one would dare to move against us. Once we go out, I estimate that we would immediately be taken away. It would be a fate worse than death. Ning Cheng knew that there was definitely more to this matter. He directly called out Grey Toot Toot from his miniature world and spoke, Grey Toot Toot, go and bring out all the best things in the hotel's kitchen. Seeing Grey Toot Toot quickly disappear outside the door, Daixin looked at Ning Cheng in amazement. She had not seen Ning Cheng take out this puppy called Grey Toot Toot from somewhere. Ning Cheng hugged Ning Ruolan and sat on the edge of the bed. Ning Ruolan tightly held onto Ning Cheng's hand. Ning Cheng gently stroked Ning Ruolan's long hair and spoke, Ruolan, I will take you away when I come back. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Saying that, Ning Cheng continued to ask, younger sister Daixin, can you tell me the details later? Since Daixin was still accompanying Ruolan at this time, Ning Cheng had already regarded her as his younger sister. He could see that Daixin was equally exhausted, but he didn't continue to ask. This kind of thing couldn't be explained in a few sentences. It wouldn't be too late to ask Daixin after she recovered her strength. Now that he was here, he believed that no one would dare to cause trouble here. Grey Toot's speed was very fast, and in just 10 minutes, he once again arrived at the room. Ning Cheng went over and closed the door, while using his spiritual consciousness to sweep around, but did not find any cameras. Looking at the glass table filled with delicacies, Daixin and Ning Ruolan stared blankly at Grey Toot Toot. Just what kind of puppy was this? How did so many things get here? Ruolan, Daixin, let's eat first. After eating, we can talk about it slowly. In short, I have a space storage tool that can put these things inside. Ning Cheng moved the glass table to the bedside. Although it felt very bizarre, Daixin and Ning Ruolan did not ask about it. In this world, there were simply too many bizarre things. Ning Ruolin and Dai Exin only ate a little bit of chocolate every day, causing them to feel hungry. Now that they were faced with a table full of delicacies, they couldn't help but feel even more hungry. Ning Ruolin's excitement finally passed, and her mood also calmed down. Coupled with her big brother here, her appetite also soared. Without waiting for them to finish eating, Dai Exin and Ning Ruolin began to talk about the things that had happened in the past few years. By the time they finished eating, Ning Cheng also understood the general situation of the matter. Shortly after Ning Cheng disappeared, an insect infestation appeared on Earth. With the emergence of the insect infestation, insect materials and insect nuclei quickly appeared. After her big brother went missing, the first thing Ning Ruolin wanted to do was to start her own business. She wanted to earn a lot of money, and even if she had to search the entire world, she wanted to find her big brother. At the same time, she also wanted to use facts to tell the Tian family that anyone can earn money. The Tian family was not that great, and Tian Mu-wan also did not have the qualifications to look down on her big brother. Ning Ruolin knew that a person without capital would find it difficult to start a business, but she was very smart. When she saw that an insect nucleus could be sold for millions or even tens of millions, she knew that if she wanted to start a business, she had to take this road. In order to understand this line of work, she joined a materials company. Because she studied foreign languages, she had the opportunity to bargain with some of the foreign martial artists. It was also because of this convenience that she got to know a few martial artists. Once, a foreign martial artist thanked Ning Ruolin for her help and gave her the stomach of a yellow spot insect, which was the least valuable of all. At the beginning of the insect tide, the yellow spot insect stomach could only be used to make socks, gloves, and other low-level protective gear. There were also some hotels that processed the yellow spot insect stomach and turned it into food. Although Ning Ruolin had handled a lot of insect materials, she never had her own insect materials. What Ning Ruolin did not expect was that the insect stomach given to her by this martial artist contained a good insect nucleus. This insect nucleus allowed her to obtain a fortune of 2 million. With this money, coupled with her keen sense of business, she quickly established the prototype of her own company. Ning Ruolin also knew that this opportunity could be said to be a stroke of luck. Later on, no one would send out an insect stomach without checking it, because many insect stomachs contained even more good things. Although the company grew, Ning Ruolin was very careful. Not only did she hire a lot of security guards, but she also bought some weapons. But even so, when Ning Ruolin was restocking a large amount of goods, the goods were still robbed. Of the 10 security guards she hired, 2 died, while the remaining 8, along with their driver, disappeared. Because of this incident, the Cheng Ruolin Materials Company plummeted. If Ning Ruolin wanted to continue building the company, she could only borrow money. Because of this incident, the company suffered a variety of setbacks, which made it difficult for her to make money. To make matters worse, more than a month ago, the goods that the company had painstakingly gathered were once again robbed. This time, it could be said that there were no valuable materials, as ordinary bandits would not even bother to look at them. Even so, they still ended up robbed. Ning Ruolin was mentally exhausted and could only seek help from Dai Exin. Dai Exin then came to know that Ning Ruolin was running the company alone. After she heard the news, she immediately rushed to Qiyang, while bringing with her nearly 2 million. After Ning Ruolin and Dai Exin discussed it, they personally came to the 100 Bay Point to purchase the goods. Big brother, if the first robbery was a coincidence, then the second robbery is definitely because someone schemed against me. Ning Ruolin finally found her big brother, and her mood was several times better than before. Ning Cheng nodded. Ruolin, let's talk about this later. Why are you and Dai Exin trapped in this place? Who is not letting you out? Staying in a hotel for a night, and even eating a meal costs 100,000. In the end, who instructed you to do this? How could there be such an expensive hotel in this world? Dai Exin hesitated for a moment before speaking. Elder brother Xiaocheng, I suspect that the people who schemed against us and the people who schemed against Ruolin Company are in cahoots. Ning Cheng looked at Ning Ruolin and spoke. In that case, Ruolin, which one do you suspect is plotting against you? Tell me. Ning Ruolin gave an sound. I have always suspected that it was done by Domain Insect Materials. Moreover, I also received an anonymous letter saying that it was done by this company. Domain Insect Materials? Ning Cheng repeated the words in doubt. He had heard of this name not long ago. And this is China's largest materials company. Even in the world, it can be ranked in the top 3. This materials company not only sells insect materials, but also sells finished weapons and armors. Ning Ruolin explained. Speaking till here, Ning Ruolin hesitated for a moment before looking at Ning Cheng. Big brother, I suspect that this company is under the banner of the Tian family, so... Ning Cheng lovingly grabbed Ning Ruolin's hand and spoke. Ruolin, no matter who it is, if they dare to lay their hands on you, I will not let them go. Thinking of Ruolin's goods being robbed twice, Ning Cheng could not wait to immediately turn these bastards into dust. Ning Ruolin's eyes turned red, remembering the time when her big brother went missing, causing her to go crazy. Now that her big brother was back, he was still the same as before, the big brother who cared for her in every possible way. When our company had just started up, we had once competed with the Domain Insect Materials Company for a batch of top-quality insect materials. Because we not only took it back at a high price, but also sold the processed materials to the other party at a much lower price than the Domain Insect Materials Company. As a result, the Domain Insect Materials Company lost. Originally, it was not a big deal, but I don't know why, the Domain Insect Materials Company managed to obtain more materials compared to other materials companies, and soon left their peers behind, causing the company to grow bigger and bigger. As Ning Ruolin spoke till here, she seemed to have recalled the scene of Cheng Ruolin's materials being robbed, as well as the scene of the security guards being killed. Ning Cheng felt that Ruolin's hands were a bit cold, and immediately guessed what she was thinking. Ruolin, you don't have to worry about it. Just tell me everything. I will help you. You have already seen Grey Toot-Toot's ability. Big brother, is this puppy called Grey Toot-Toot? How did it manage to bring back so many things? In the end, where did it put it? Ning Ruolin immediately thought of Grey Toot-Toot on the side, as well as the unexplainable things that she and Dai Xen could not understand. However, after experiencing a lot of things over the years, she was able to control her emotions. Only in front of her big brother did she not need to control herself. Don't worry about it, we can talk about it later. First, tell me what happened with the Domain Insect Materials. Ning Cheng said as he motioned to Grey Toot-Toot to pick up all the things on the table. Ning Ruolin and Dai Xen looked at Grey Toot-Toot's quick movements, as well as the disappearing bowls and chopsticks, causing them to feel shocked. After a good while, Ning Ruolin finally reacted and continued. After the Domain Insect Materials Company grew stronger, it soon began to annex some of the smaller materials companies. Moreover, our Cheng Ruolin company was the main target of their attack, causing many of the materials companies to slowly disappear. However, I was not willing to accept it. If I did not make a lot of money, I would not have the opportunity to look for my big brother. Ruolin, it has really been hard on you all these years. Ning Cheng understood that those materials companies that were not specifically targeted by the Domain Insect Company had already disappeared. Moreover, Ruolin's company was specifically targeted by others. For them to be able to persist until now, it was already a testament to Ruolin's ability. Ning Ruolin shook her head and spoke. Being able to see my big brother again, I do not feel that it is hard for me to do anything. How did you know that the Domain Insect Materials belonged to the Tian family? Ning Cheng remembered Ning Ruolin's words from before and asked again. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.